Welcome, family, to another episode of the Midnight Moods podcast. We out here, Coco the Conscious, aka Mr. Moods, and we have a special guest, the sister, Monisha. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Bro, thank you for being here. Literally, how this happened was pretty magical. We'll get into that. But we were talking about it, and then I started seeing you at events, and then it's like, all right.
How funny, like the literal timing of it. You messaged, and then I saw him like multiple weekends.
Yeah, like, literally, like that day.
Universe speaking.
It was that day, I'm pretty sure. When
that day.
I don't know if we were talking about Paula. We were talking about something, like just like something spiritual. Dreams. Yes.
And then we went to that beautiful gallery event.
Yes.
And then, it was just
shout out to
good energy that night.
Atelier and the Art Gallery in New South Wales
and
for that.
Afrobeats.
Sounds of Afrobeats. That was an amazing event. And then, so I'm glad you're here. Thank you for coming.
I'm glad to be here.
Monisha is a healer, an actress. Oh, sorry, a model. Sorry, it's hitting me now because I was gonna say the physio, and then I was just like, oh, okay, what's the next word?
You got it.
Let's get to the
physiologist.
Physiologist.
It's a word. It's a tongue tie.
I'm dyslexic, fam. We all know this by now.
I still get tongue tied, and it's my job.
Yeah. We all know that by now that I'm a bit dyslexic. And what was the other one? Sorry.
So I model, entrepreneur, starting my own little business.
That's right, entrepreneur. Yes.
Healer.
And then clinical.
Oh, yeah. So DJ in training.
Yeah.
And then also currently studying clinical psych.
Clinical psychology.
Yeah.
Wow.
About to start that literally next month.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're going to learn a lot today. I'm going to learn a lot today. We're all going to learn a lot today.
I literally wrote
Oh, you got notes?
Because I wrote it on my phone, and then I realized I'm so old school.
Yeah, I love that.
I love reading and writing, and so I copied it all out into a little thing just so I can kind of refer to it and just little.
That's dope.
Yeah.
No, thank you. That was preparation. I love it. What do we have in the notes? Anything?
Oh
my God. Okay.
That.
All right, we'll start talking and then
we'll start chatting and we'll just flow.
100%. That's dope. Wow, I love that. Are these? Sorry, now I'm looking at your hands.
Yeah.
They actual tattoos?
They are actual tattoos. They're my most recent ones.
I love them.
I love them too. They've been in the making for a very long time. And it's funny that we started talking about dreams because this is a symbol that I dreamed in 2015.
Wow.
One of the most vivid dreams I've ever had.
Yeah.
And probably one of the first times that I was like, what are dreams? Like, when you have this dream and you wake up and my whole body, my whole life felt different.
Wow.
So, and so then eventually in October last year, also to remind me to be a warrior, you know, and that
I was going to say they're very tribal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
wow.
I love them.
So you saw the symbol in the dream?
In the dream, and I'd never seen it before.
Wow.
And so as soon as I woke up, I grabbed, literally, and just I wrote, I drew it out.
Yeah.
And then it took me a few weeks to actually find what it meant and from where it was, because I was just Googling spiral with line and it literally looked like this, and so I was I'd never seen it before, and
that's dope.
It was a trip out.
Yeah.
It was a total trip out.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was good. It was a very poignant dream.
Yeah. So what's your ancestral lineage, your heritage?
Actually,
Can we get into that?
I'm completely South Indian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So both my parents are from a little city in South India called Bengaluru. Now it's been renamed.
Oh, Bengaluru.
Bangalore. Yeah.
We had shout out to Niv on the podcast. I'm pretty sure she's from Bangalore.
Mangalore, maybe.
Oh, Mangalore. Maybe it's
but
Mangalore.
there's
Sorry,
a
my
couple
bad.
but it's. I think it's quite close to Bangalore. I think,
right?
If I remember.
Maybe it was Mangalore.
Not the best with geography of it because India is so diverse.
Yeah, 100.
If I go to the north, I look different, sound different, I speak a different language, I'm lost. I'm as lost as you are, kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
it is a huge country.
Yeah. It's 200 languages in this little country alone, kind of thing.
And I just learnt about the partition. I didn't know about all that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
With how all of it used to just be one giant, and now they just started
dividing.
Yeah, cutting it
the
all
divide and conquer.
You know who it was. You know exactly how they did it.
We ain't got it. We can't get into it, but it's true. You know why? Because I was watching. I don't know if you're into Marvel movies, but I was watching Miss Marvel.
I love superheroes. I haven't seen that yet.
Watch it.
Okay.
It's
cool.
dope. It's
on
dope.
Netflix, yeah.
It's on Disney Plus.
Okay.
But they get into that, the partition, because she's Pakistani.
Okay. Yeah.
And then and then I was I was watching. I'm like, bro, this is kind of deep. And then I started researching. I'm like, wow, I didn't know all this happened. I was like, good lord. So much.
And now it's if Bengal and Bangladesh and Pakistan and Nepal, but when you really get into it, it's I even find that about like India and Africa though, like because that connection as
it's
well.
Huge, yeah.
So similar.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Even like countries in Africa, 'cause my dad's from Ghana, but there's like Togo's next to it, and I'm pretty sure all of them were one as well. It's just they all, you know, they came in,
literally.
the colonizer came in, and
like Africa's really, really diverse in all that culture too. But again, it's like it's
one. Yeah. If anything, it'd be like different tribes instead of different like countries.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd say, yeah.
And just little different wisdoms from each tribe, like as opposed to this whole different like real separation kind of thing. So no, I feel that. Yeah.
Have you been to Bangalore?
Bangalore, yeah. Last time was for my cousin's wedding in 2019.
Nice.
Just before all the crazy stuff happened.
Yeah.
And it was good. And honestly, it was my first time like going in as a real young adult and partying in Bangalore. I was a conservative one.
Yeah.
Like I remember going to a club in Bangalore and I was like, okay, like I know India for being a very conservative country, especially for women, and that's like my upbringing with Indian culture. And I remember rocking up and my auntie took me out because I have one of those like fun aunties that never ages, you know, and she was like, yeah, come out with me, this, that. And so we went out and I rock up to this club and everyone's there in these tiny little like outfits and just like going off. And I literally felt like the prude in there. I was like, oh my God. It's changing so much. Especially Bangalore, like it's getting really progressive. And, like it's really good to see.
Wow.
It's so good.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, literally, because of, I guess, where the culture has come from. And I don't know how much you know about Indian culture.
I don't know too much, but I'm here to learn.
Yeah. I guess my interest in it has always been a little bit weird. I don't know how you've kind of grown up in terms of your, like, link to culture, but I've always kind of really denied it, I think, and it's taken me a while to come and step into this, like being an Indian woman.
I love that. Yeah,
because of what it always used to mean to be an Indian woman, if that makes sense.
Like what comes with it, as in okay.
And like because tradition is super heavy in India, and it's still like rampant there. Like we have such horrific cases of like sexual violence and rape and just like really like subjugating our women and like child marriage and all these weird rights. Man,
so it's a bit
heavy
behind in that.
So literally. So it's like just pushing forward now, and I think in my own like little kind of meandering through my own identity and like picking and choosing what I wanted. Even these are, I guess, like a little ode, not very much to like henna, you know, like mainly. That's
the word. I don't know, henna. They're henna.
Because I figured that, like, eventually, like, when I go to, like, friends' weddings or family and stuff, they're always going to want to paint on my hands. And these can be, like, a little stencil for it. Because I can always work off it, too.
Yeah, like a little reference point.
Like a little reference point.
Yeah, like, go from there. And
you know, but not too much like henna just yet. I might add to it as time goes on.
Yeah. No, I've seen the henna, because it's not permanent. It's just there for a bit. And it's like natural? It's a natural ink?
It's, like, from this, literally, like, a leaf. It's, like, pigment.
Wow.
And it just stains your skin for like about a week or so.
Yeah.
You can like dye your hair with it. You can do all crazy things.
Wow.
With it. Yeah.
Such a rich culture. There's a lot there.
It is.
So Hinduism that's heavy in India, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess like most of India is Hindu, and then that's why like when colonists came in, they were like, oh, we see this little difference because the top part where Pakistan was Muslim, but heaps of Muslims in India still, like kind of dispersed throughout. And then the top part of Nepal is like Buddhist.
Yes.
So
Nepalese. I met a lot of Buddhist Nepalese. Like I remember I was walking to work once in town hall, and then like one of these Buddhist monks came up to me, like trying to give me like a little flyer.
Yeah.
And he was from Nepal. And it was like the most, like, the energy was just something. Like, he had this energy. I was like, whoa, this is... I don't know if it was because he's a monk and I had that perception of, it's a monk.
Maybe.
But I honestly think it was his energy.
Both.
Yeah, exactly.
It's also one of the most... I've, like, traveled to Nepal, too. And it's one of the most peaceful places. Like, I loved it because you walk through the streets and... coming from India as well, there's always this, like, Hindu, Muslim. And then you walk into Nepal and it's literally, like... Hindu and Buddhist, but then a Hindu-Buddhist fusion, and then temples which are kind of both, and then you have a Buddhist temple, a stupa right next to a Hindu temple, and the way that I saw that the cultures just like so much peaceful coexisting.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was good.
Everyone needs to take a note out of that.
I know.
Wow.
We literally have like real life examples of just letting people be, and then if you wanted to take a bit of both, fusing it.
Yeah.
I always reckon like fusion is best. Like, you know, a bit like a bit of balance, or just like picking and choosing and having that flexibility and freedom.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah, literally.
When you said fusion, I like that. And then you said flexibility and freedom. I was thinking F words.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
literally fucking all of the F words.
There's some power to them.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
So both your parents, are they Hindu? Are they religious or?
I would say that they grew up, yes. Like, I mean, my dad, like, he speaks Sanskrit, which is what this... Oh, no, this is actually Kannada. This one is Sanskrit. This is like it says Shakti. And that's like, it's creative life force. And like my parents, they didn't really raise me so much to be, I guess, like Hindu. And also like because of the way I am and the way I'm a little bit like a rebel. I didn't really want to follow it because as well, I remember being younger and it's like, okay, if you are on your period or if you want to take something with your left hand, you can't. And I'm always like, oh, why not? Why not?
I'm like that too.
Yeah, like I don't take nothing. And then there wasn't really answers for that, you know? And especially from Hinduism, which is so big on our goddesses and female gods. Yeah. The fact that I can't step into a temple when I'm menstruating, I was like, fuck this. Yeah. Fuck this. Excuse me. If you can't explain why... Like, why am I following it? Why am I doing it? And even this whole left hand thing, like...
What is that, the whole left hand?
Well, literally a bit crude, but it's like because they say the left hand is the one that you're meant to wipe your ass with. Oh, wow. And then the right hand is like the holy hand. So if you're like going into the temple, like you're meant to do things like this and always like receive with the right.
Interesting.
I'm not sure if there's something else, you know, linked to the right maybe.
There is something, I remember like some shaman was telling me like one hand passes energy and one receives.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it was. Because I remember I was wearing these.
Yeah.
And then they told me, oh, you should change the tourmaline on like your hand. Like that's
a stone, right?
Yeah, the stone. Yeah. On your like right hand. I don't even remember now which one. If I did opposite. You know, because they're like, you receive with that one. You want to make sure that that's like blocking the... or absorbing the bad energy or whatever.
Interesting.
And I was like, oh shit. So yeah, I don't know if it's the right hand that's the giving hand and the left hand's receiving.
But also right is so dominant in everything, right? Like, I mean, I don't know if, like, so in Indian schools as well, like if you're left-handed, they literally like just like slap it out of the way and force you to learn with your right. Wow. Like because right is so much better and that's not even just in India. I think it's like in all of Asia too. Weird. I have Asian friends and their parents had the same thing like done to them where they were forced to just like literally tie their left hand even though that's what came naturally and then forced to learn with their right. So now they've got like ambidextrous kind of ability which is sick. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, but I don't know what else it is about the right hand.
Yeah, that's...
I'm like, it's all part of your body.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Not, you know?
It's all one at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And then your right, so like, isn't it like if you use your right hand, it connects to like the left brain and then vice versa?
Yeah. Like
and then one's for creativity and one's for logic.
Yeah, the brain, like the right side is logic, technically, and left side is creativity. But... you know, I think also, I mean, I love the brain and I'm really interested in like neuroscience.
Yeah, because you're studying clinical psychology.
Clinical psych.
Can we get into the clinical psych? Since we're here?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. How's that going?
I haven't started yet.
Oh, yeah.
I literally start in 4 weeks, 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
I start like day after my birthday next month.
Yeah.
Like a little present to myself. 4 years, let's go.
Let's go. Nice.
I wanted it to be an adjunct to the first degree I did. So like I've kind of done a degree a lot about the body. That's like the physiology thing. Yeah. Been working in it, treating patients. And then the more I got to every patient, the more I realized this is not just body. Right? Someone would come in with like this shoulder injury. Yeah. And then I'm talking to him and I'm treating him and then I realized like there's always a mental component. Yeah. There is always a mental component. Yeah. So part of my reason to go back and study.
That's deep. Yeah. So then it'll help strengthen the physiology.
Literally. Because I don't want to just be a exercise physiologist. Yeah. And I don't want to just be a clinical psychologist. I want to fuse both together. I want that flexibility to I love that. Dip and dabble into both and jump around and then make my own kind of little third mind and body connection thing.
I love that. And I haven't heard of that. Like someone that does all through, like, you know, on all levels.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then because I'm deeply spiritual and like, you know, I practice a lot of the meditation, the yoga, I'll eventually get like, you know, do a little, you know, bring yoga into it and
you know, create like a little health house or something.
Yeah, literally like, and you know, it's just, there's no way you can just do one because now even science and spirituality is like they're just proving each other. If that makes sense.
I know what you mean. They're reinforcing one another.
Yeah.
It's true. When you start looking at it, you're like, they're basically like very similar. It's just one's a different way of
just different languages.
Yeah.
But they're talking about the same thing. Yeah. So like that's why I'm a little nerd with science and I love it. But then I can literally, for every word that I find in psychology and physiology, I'm like, I could talk to someone that hates science and then explain it in just a spiritual way because it always translates. Like I 100% believe that it always translates.
I love that. So it's like you're in between, bro. Like you can be that translator
like
in between, bro.
Yeah, that's exactly
that's what we need. More people like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And especially like this might be like a little controversial thing, and I swear a lot of my
It's all right.
So I honestly believe the revolution of our world is in the hands of black and brown people. Straight up.
Okay, speak on it.
Because it's like when we think about it, the more I'm, because I'm spiritual and scientific, a lot of the science, it's like ancient wisdoms. It is ancient wisdoms, right? It's coming from like how big is yoga now? How big is meditation now? And how long ago did our people in black and brown countries know about yoga and meditation or just breathing and moving our bodies or feeling in community, that now science is like, hey, that's a thing. That's a thing that actually works, guys.
Yeah.
Like
It's scientifically proven, so now do it.
Yeah.
Look at this breakthrough that come through in science, but it was like an ancient like Kemetic teaching or something.
No, 100%. And so like even a part of me is like, so because I feel like the revolution of like really healing as a collective is in the hands of black and brown, it's also going to be helpful to have black and brown people that can be that little translator from the science world, kind of, oscillating between both.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
that's deep.
I mean,
I like that.
It's real. Yeah.
Hey, I don't think it's too like I know what you're saying, like the controversial part.
Because it's like it's just not in the hands of white people.
Of course, it's been in the hands for a while, and it's just like,
and what have you guys done?
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it working? Is it working? Do you know what I mean? But like we love all people.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong.
100%.
But I know where you're going with it. I know where you're going with it. 100%.
And maybe it's a phrasing which is controversial, but and whether it's still like, because I have a lot of friends who are, let's say, like Anglo, they're white, and like they're teaching yoga. Yeah. And we've had debates where I'm like, I just don't think, and like I think I'm moving past that because maybe it is like my own kind of coloredness, really like you're the kind of warrior and me being like, it's in brown and black hands, but even that knowledge of yoga that's being taught by these different cultures. That's still coming from black and brown. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Like we're coming full circle after all these years, after all the madness and all the chaos.
Yeah, it's coming full circle.
Yeah. Full on.
It's so true though. It is. Now, like when you start connecting the dots, wait a second. But it's confronting for a lot of people.
It is.
And it's confronting for society as a whole. But if you look at it, like a lot of like black, like even the Afrobeat events and like all this like hip hop, even like in the music realm, like hip hop's like pop music basically now. Like that's popular music.
And where did it come from? It was like this voice of the streets because it was so suppressed and like under pressure.
Facts.
Like,
Exactly. It's so true.
Yeah.
And then we got Afrobeat events in the Archive New South Wales. Like what?
I love that. That like having all that white art with like the men in their like horses and stuff, and then everyone getting down to Afrobeats.
That was
like,
crazy. I was like,
amazing.
this is amazing. Yeah, I know. I was like, this is just too good to be true. I was tripping. I'm like, this is just wild.
It was good.
I was on the gin too. That probably added to it.
Gin's good.
Gin is good, man.
Gin is good.
I ain't
Gin and
gonna
juice.
lie. Right, yeah. Sipping on that gin and juice.
Yeah.
Lay back. It's true. I was like, I hadn't drank for 5 years.
Until that night?
Like I think it was a night, like it was a few nights before that.
Wow.
But it was the gin that got me back. Because I used to always like gin.
Gin is nice though.
Like,
it's a very like light and like it's just it's healthy. I think
it's made out
actually.
of plants and stuff and like herbs. I'm like, bro, that sells me straight away. Whenever it's made from nature, you get me. Anyone that wants to sell me something, if it's made from nature, you got me.
I'm the same.
Yeah,
if it comes from the earth, you're like, how can you argue with it?
I can't deny Mother Nature.
Is gin Indian?
Great question. You know what's crazy? This comes back to the Miss Marvel movie.
Oh yeah.
But she's, I don't know, and no spoilers, but she comes from a lineage of jinn, like the people or something, a jinn. I don't know if that's based on true. I don't know if that's true. But I was just like, what the fuck? I'm like, I just came back from a Sounds like Afrobeat event drinking gin, and now you're saying you're a gin. I'm like, what's this gin thing? What's happening? So maybe it is
synchronicities.
Yeah. Oh, bro, the synchronicities are heavy. Yeah. Heavy. What do you? So you must get a lot of synchronicities in your life.
Yeah.
Are they amping up more now, or is it the same?
I'm at a very interesting point in my life at the moment. I feel like I'm in a huge transition. Like, I just left a full-time job. Like, okay, I say I left, but I got fired.
Yeah, it's alright. Yeah.
But it was one of those things where, again, the universe was like, bah, 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 like forcing the change on me. So right now it's like, yes, it's synchronicities, but it's a lot of exploration. It's a lot of new territory. It's a lot of like, try this, explore this, you know, go further in this. Like, okay, circle back to this. Where were you 2 years ago when you wanted this goal? Is this the same goal? Like, it's very much like woo at the moment. Yeah. So I'm feeling that, and you know, like, I mean, for me, synchronicities definitely started with like the like C numbers.
Yeah, that's what I always be.
And it's funny because like when you talk to people about it, that's often where everyone starts.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
They keep seeing
those numbers. They're like, wow, I love it. Yeah, I love when someone's like just waking up at that point. Talk about the numbers. I'm like, let's go. I feed into it. I'm like, yeah, man, let's go, man. Because I know that 100%. That space where you're like, that magic starts appearing and you start like questioning everything. You're like, what is like that's
right?
Is that a coincidence? Is that
What a beautiful time that was, and that for me was when I first moved to when I moved to Cape Town, or maybe a couple of years before that. Oh
wow!
Yeah.
So how long were you in? See, you're in South Africa. It's crazy.
Yeah.
How long were you there for?
Like a year and a half, and then I went back multiple times, like 3 or 4 times, and for like 2 months, 3 months, like
to work.
So the very first time was when I first graduated as like a little trip, like after, because I was just like 5 years of doing this degree. I was burnt out. I hated Sydney. I oscillate between loving and hating Sydney sometimes, right?
I totally get that.
It's an interesting city, and so went for a little like for like a little 2-week holiday, and then as soon as I like stepped off into Cape Town, it was just magic air. I was like, I fucking love this city. What is it about this? It just fit me. I felt at home, and so then. Within the 6 months, I was literally again like Googling random opportunities, and then I found one that was like working with children. And just doing extracurricular like character development almost, if that makes sense. So I also have like mad interest in like, because I want to work in the mental health field, I want to find a new word for this, and I want to maybe even use like this like catalyzing of all the chemicals in our brain, like which people now call like trauma, right, or triggered. It's like such pop psych culture talk now. Everyone's talking about triggers and trauma and attachment theory and all this stuff, and I kind of want to like I want to dip into it, but working with the kids there, like you can imagine, like the shit they've seen, of course, the shit they've been through,
because there's a lot of trauma on that land,
especially
Cape Town.
Oh my god, and Cape Town's very much like Sydney a little bit, but it's definitely got more culture to it, but it's still got that like, you know, you'd have like the richest people literally, you know, on one side, and literally as big as like this, the slums, like the do you know what I mean? The settlements, the informal settlements, and you know, backing up onto it. So you have this huge mansion, and then like fence, and then settlements. That close, right? And it's still like that. And also there's almost 3 cultures now, right? There's like colored, which is it's debatable where they reckon colors kind of originated from. Some are like it's the mixing of like the Dutch with the South Africans, but then some colors say that they were actually like a very, very ancient tribe before the actual South Africans.
Oh wow.
And so then you have so you have colors, and then you have the white South Africans, Afrikaans, and then you have like black South Africans, and so there's like 3 divides, and there's still
that's a lot.
There's a lot happening still, economically, culturally, emotionally. Like it's very charged, that city, but funny because like
you were drawn there though, to stay there as well.
For like a whole year and a bit, and just like work there with the kids, and just like booked a one-way ticket and just rocked up. Wow. And again, being an Indian woman, I was like, look, mom and dad, like this is happening.
Oh yeah, how did that happen?
It wasn't a question. It was like, I remember like I did it all like kind of low-key behind their backs, like organized it all, and then when it came down to actually doing like the visa stuff, I was like, well, look, you can be with me on this journey, or I'm just gonna do it by myself.
Facts, I love that mentality.
It kind of has to be like that sometimes. Like if you're trying to really push it forward.
Exactly, especially because your life at the end of the day. Exactly. And you'll never know if you don't have those moments where like I gotta do. You can't live from there. I totally get that.
And because respect has to be more than just like, yes, okay, do you know what I mean? Like, and I realized that like very early on with like, you know, my personal experiences with family and stuff.
Yeah.
And just like what I think family is, you can't live for them at the end of the day.
100%.
Like,
No way.
As much
No
as they're going to be
way.
like, what, how dare you?
Yeah.
It'll be like real rough and ugly for a while.
Of course. It's part of it.
Yeah, but then it'll get better.
Yeah.
It'll get
It's
better.
so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always say family's frequency as well at times.
Family's frequency.
You know what I mean?
Cool.
But like there is like obviously your blood family, but like it's just like
that's true.
I don't know. I've noticed so many connections that I've like cultivated over the years. And I'm like, man, like this brother, this sister, this feels like family. Do you know what I mean? Like,
do you mean that you reckon people on the same frequency are your
yes,
family?
That's what I mean by it. Yeah.
Cool.
Sorry, I should
No.
specify that a bit more. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. Like soul family and all of that.
Like soul tribe vibe. Yeah, exactly.
I agree. I was reading something interesting about frequency the other day that was like, apparently life, it doesn't match your desire. It matches your innate frequency.
Yes.
And
I've heard that too. Like where you're vibrating at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not about what you're thinking and what you're wanting.
Yeah.
It's your actual vibration, which
where
can
you're
be
at.
like here and here, right? Your desires and wants can be here, and then your frequency can be in a whole different place.
True, they're not matching up together.
And that's why people are like not able to manifest or finding a lot of like just pain in their life and like these different things, and that's a part of why I'm like the spiritual side of the healing is like it's huge because yes, you can do the talk therapy and I can exercise you and I can do all these things, but your resting point, like where is that and what is that saying about you and your life and your soul and your body and all of that? It'll take you so much further, or just just if you.
It's true. I've noticed that just throughout life. It's just like, if I'm like not down, but if I'm in like a place where like my frequency's, I won't say low, but just at a weird state, it's that becomes my reality. I start attracting stuff like that. And it's just like 100%. Compounds on and on. You're like, what the fuck? It's like, what do you do to like change your, like to switch your frequency up? Like, do you do like meditate? Do you have certain practices like go-tos to do that will get you in like that state? Or just put you in a balanced dance.
Like for me, I like nothing is like dance. Like I mean, I do yoga and I exercise and I like at the moment don't meditate as much as I probably should be. Yeah. But that's also because like I'm dance. It puts me into a zone which is so different and powerful than anything else. And I honestly believe it's because like your whole body gets into it, right? And it's also another ancient thing, like
100%.
Dance and music and the way that feels in your body.
Embodying the music itself.
If you feel the beat, you know, and like
you let it move through you.
Exactly. And people will always talk about that and being like, just feel the beat and let it move through you. But like when you actually feel the beat and let it move through you, like you're healed, right? I remember once there was a random show in like Lazy Bones in Marrickville or something, and what were they called? It was the same drums they used in Black Panther. They're called
the handpan? No, it's like a drum.
Yeah, but it's like real like kind of different high sound. I forget the name of it now, but it was beautiful because like it was a random show, and then they're like, okay, everybody sit on the floor. Like, okay, we all like sat on the floor, and then they brought these drums out, and it literally fucking moved through you.
Wow.
Like, you know, it was.
That's why they want everyone to sit on the floor so they can feel the vibration.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it moved through me,
deep.
you know?
Yeah.
And so just drumming, singing, humming, like, you know, even like the word om in meditation, right? Because it's like that low like you say, your practice of didgeridoo, like that kind of lower frequencies especially, like it puts you in a different place. And
definitely
I think that's why I gravitate towards like Afrobeats, hip hop, and like all like more like dirty beats which have got that bass line. You need the bass line.
Facts.
100%.
It's funny because I do like my cousin, he watches the podcast, he's like, bro, you always go and I'm like, fuck, I do. Like I started watching them back. And then I'm like, you know what, bro? But like, fuck it. Like,
own it.
It's like something like therapy. And then I started realizing when I do my oms, because I do them in the shower sometimes, I'm like, that sounds like what I do on the podcast. I'm like,
Yeah.
And it's just like this
it is.
instinctual thing that's just happened naturally. And like a lot of these things we have already within us and we're already doing.
Yeah.
And it's just about like kind of, like you said, embodying what's already there. You know,
100%.
innately within us.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And really using that. So if I'm really in the dumps, like turn up the music.
Yeah.
And even sometimes just like jump and like wring hands and stuff. Like this is like a somatic therapy. So like in mental health now, like there's a whole new little, I guess, divergent thing going away from just like talk therapy, which is like, you know, you talk about all your issues, but going towards more like, okay, where is the emotion in your body? Is it here? Is it here? Is it here? Feeling it. And because, like, you know, like emotion is literally like this, it's a bunch of chemicals that like bubble up in your body, and then you have to move them out and through you.
I like how you put that in.
Yeah, like emotion literally has the word motion in it. You know what I mean? And if you don't, if you suppress it, that's how shit gets stuck.
Yeah, that's how you get sick. Yeah, that's true.
Like, and especially working in like this health field and clinical side and like kind of, you know, being allied health and really being and seeing all these like illnesses. Yeah, it's always, there's something blocked in that emotional field. Yeah. And there's only so much people can get better, I found, with like coming to me in all their treatments, because they're not moving through with that emotion. And they really need that. So
So you get them in your body, would you say, like, to move that around? So if they had something like here, would you, like, how would you
like figure out if it's like, you know, kind of linked to something else? Well, it kind of, you can feel it because of either how they're moving or how they're like responding to treatment, if that makes sense. Like sometimes someone really will come in with like, you know, kind of a pulled like hammy or something, and you know, and I feel like that's where physios come into, you know, play. Like I'm like the cousin of a physiotherapist, if that makes sense. I'm like the long-term like lifestyle, life change management.
I see what you mean. And
physios, like when you first like get hurt and you torn something, they'll like massage, wrap you.
Fix.
Exactly.
So yours is like prevention as well, would you say?
Like a lot of internal medicine is what we had to like learn, because it's that long term, and a lot of it is like one of our biggest things is treating like, you know, cardiovascular disease and diabetes and all these metabolic things, which is all coming from the inside. And so the more patients I saw with like these like diabetes and like this and that and all these organs doing funny things that are needing exercise still, because exercise like helps everything, I saw that this is not just you having diabetes, it's not just you having cardiovascular, like this is something,
an emotional thing.
It is.
Wow.
I once had a cancer patient who swears like on her life, and literally her life, right? Because she had stage 4 lung cancer.
Wow.
She was getting chemo and she was getting all these things, and she was like, she stopped it, and then what she did was pranayama, which like is like a yogic limb, and it's all about focusing on the breath. There's like a lot of different types of breath work. And she was like, for whatever it was, 4, 6, 8 hours a day, like
doing
pranayama breathing, and she was like, she completely cleared.
Wow.
And she swears it was the meditation and the breath work from this yogic principle of this ancient wisdom. And she's a white lady. She was a middle-aged white woman, you know, came and found me and was like working with me. And, you know, so we still did like a fusion of like kind of exercise, yoga kind of thing.
Wow.
And she swears that it was a pranayama that moved that cancer up and out.
Wow.
Yeah. It blew my mind as well. Do you know what I mean? Like,
so you're working with her through this, She
came to me when she'd cured herself. She said that she found like she had just cured herself. She found some guy in Mumbai, did like online yoga with him, and then did her own like pranayama practice, and said that it cured her cancer.
Wow.
In ways that like years of the chemo didn't do shit.
Wow. And because chemo, it affects everything as well. It doesn't just target that.
Exactly.
And the pranayama would have been just targeting that area.
Yeah. And I guess pranayama in Sanskrit literally is like vital life force, right? The idea behind it is that like, it'll increase your lung health and capacity and all these things, but like life is breath. And if you can move that through, then you're not going to be stagnant.
Yes.
And so that will then carry out into all of your life. And so she, like, and I believed it too. Like, it was already something I believed, but then like getting this random woman find me and be like, I cured my stage 4 lung cancer from pranayama, hands down, like, and I'll never give that up, and I'll never stop, and I'll do yoga every day now for the rest of my life.
I love it. So that's now just her lifestyle.
Yeah, it's just like
she's
her
integrated
lifestyle.
That. Wow.
Yeah, and so she's swore by it and swears that, and I was like, I believe that.
Yeah.
100%.
This was like a confirmation for you for what you already, you already knew.
Like, you know, I was like, maybe it's my bias, maybe it's because I'm like, you know, Indian, my heritage, but nah, like
that's just legit.
And if you really bring all of your mind and intention to it, like that's the other thing with like conscious power, right? Whatever you really like, you hone in on, it's gonna amplify, it's gonna grow. And so if you are really with all of your like life breath literally are focusing in on something,
your life force.
Have you heard of a guy called Joe Dispenza?
Yes.
He's done the same thing with his mind, he says.
Yeah.
He got into like this horrific accident or something.
His back, right? His spine?
And it was like just fucked up, right? And like spinal conditions and like this physical field that everyone's like, oh shit, you know, if you get your spinal cord and all of this and you're like paralyzed. But he reckons that with the power of his thought and his mind, he's completely walking, he's able, he's healthy.
I remember I saw that on like one of the documentaries. I think it was like called Heal or something.
Yeah, maybe.
On Netflix. And I think he was on it. And that's when I first was introduced to him. And he was envisioning it, right? Like what his spine was doing to heal. So he'd like have these like visualizations plus the breathing plus the thoughts. Like, crazy. But every day, like how you were saying that lady, 8 hours a day.
You really got to
dedicate your time to it. It's like,
it's not just like a 10-minute thing. Like, you know, it's like, but then I guess if you want your life that badly.
I was going to say that because it's like in that position, what else?
What else you got?
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
So you'd put all your focus into that. It's amazing what the body can do, or what the spirit, what the soul can do. Do you know what I mean?
What consciousness can do when you direct it in the right places as well.
Yes.
So part of like my study with this whole like fusing the mind and body thing is like, okay, so with intergenerational trauma, you know, like we hear a lot about it, and in the same way that a lot of fucked shit can be passed down because of what like our people have been through.
The lineage.
Yeah, literally. But then the opposite can also happen, right? Like if we can pass down so much fucked shit because of what we've been through now, because like I love science because it gives like little visuals and actual like I guess data sometimes for things like, you know, and it confirms things. So like for instance, this is a real like, so with like trauma and stuff, like the frontal part of your brain, your frontal lobe tends to shut off. And that's the thing that happens when you go through some real stressful shit.
That's right. To protect you, right?
Yes,
isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. Because it shuts off and then it goes into the fear little place in like more the center of your brain, like amygdala and all these different areas. And it starts to just go survival. Like, oh my God, right? It's always like in this fight or flight kind of thing. That's where anxiety comes from. That's where depression comes from. And all these mental health disorders that are like rampant in like every society now.
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing they've shown is that you like, even though in trauma like the frontal lobe shuts off, which is where like all your logic comes from, which is why with people who have really been through shit, like their decision making and like it's hard for them, right? Because they're in a different spot in their brain trying to live out their life and not having their actual intellect and logic being completely activated and turned on. And so
that's intense.
It's intense. And so our little physiology is doing different things when we've been through shit. And it can be intergenerational in the sense that like we can pass down like mental health disorders, you know, cardiovascular disease. Like I learned the other day that so Indians and Southeast Asians, because of the like several like really severe famines that happened under British rule. I don't know if this applies to like other South Asian countries, but I know definitely of India. So I was always interested seeing a lot of like, you know, Indian people holding weight around their gut. And I was like, what is this, right? Like it's almost like a joke that we have in like Indian culture where it's like our arms and stuff is really skinny and then we have really fat bellies or something. And I was like, what is this, right? And
was it always like that?
I started researching it, and actually it turns out that our genes adapted, right? And this is like epigenetics, when like it almost like our genes adapt to the environment to help us survive. It changed because of these several famines that we were put under because of British rule to start holding on to fat more because we were scared of like the next famine.
Wow.
So now, I was like, whoa, that makes so much sense. Like Indians are at a higher risk of a lot of metabolic disease and cardiovascular disease. Like, right, that's like in our genetics. If you look at like statistics and like all these medical data, and then realizing that that's actually like a trauma response, this intergenerational thing. But then also realizing that we can reverse that if we release, like, you know, if we really move that shit out of our DNA and like with the next generations and things. Yeah, so our cells actually would hold more fat in these areas because
out of survival to think, we don't know when the next meal's coming. So
yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
That's crazy. So how would like the next generation move through that? Do you know what I mean? Like to heal that
literally
that trauma, or you know what I mean? Or reverse that epigenetic. Like how do you know?
Yeah, so it comes back to turning that frontal lobe back on.
Okay.
Because so if you imagine, think of it like I don't know, like, I mean, really shitty example, but like, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You know, it's like, imagine that to be like your survival mode. So you're like, have a question, but then you're only given like 4 answers. That's survival mode brain. It's always like panic or run away, or like, you know, what I do. Whereas if you can turn on your frontal lobe, and there's ways, I'll get to that in a second, what you're actually teaching your body and your cells and everything to do through generation, not like a switch, you know, you just work. But what you're teaching your body to do is to look for different options. And so the more we do that, the more we look outside this little box of survival as a collective, in our emotions, in our physical reactions, in the way we live and the way we raise our children, all these different areas, right? If we start to step out of survival mode, get into this like really like, just expand, because this frontal lobe is all about like, it's like problem solving, it's logic. And when you come to a problem, if you're calm, if you imagine you're having fun on a Sunday and you're doing a puzzle or something, you're not stressed about it. True. You're like, how about this piece? Oh, okay, no. How about this piece? Ah, okay. You're just chilling. You're looking at all the options. Yeah,
like infinite options. You
just keep, exactly. Infinite options. So what we do is we teach our physiology and the neural connections in our brains to start looking for different options rather than just the survival mode options.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it is. We can reverse all this shit, but we just need to start thinking outside that box.
Outside the box. Yeah. Oh, I actually like that analogy.
Yeah.
The millionaire one. No, because I was picturing like the blue little boxes and the 4, and it's true. So it's just like you're limited. That's what happens. It basically limits those options. Wow.
Exactly. And then that's why that stuff gets limited and then passed down, because we're just like keep being limited and we're not knowing how to step out of that.
That's crazy. And do you think every time it gets passed down, like the boxes get small? Do you know what I mean? It becomes
potentially, yeah, depending on what the next generation has to go through. And you'll see that in, for instance, Black communities in America, right? Like they have been through like
the real
fucking atrocious shit. But then you also see it like, that's why we see cycles repeating. Yeah. Right? We know that in the 80s, they took away all of their role models, but then how come still at today, role models, like we're fighting for like these, you know, these strong leaders to be in our community, because either like society, it'll kind of keep you boxed. Yeah. And they're fucked like that. And they, that's another whole thing that I actually wrote something about, because it makes me so mad. But it's also, I guess, a very big responsibility of us, the more conscious we get and the more we like learn about this, to be like, okay, so here's a box, and what do I need to do to step out of it? And the thing to turn on your frontal lobe in the best way is play.
Play, as in like just like a child,
like
play.
A child.
I
play.
love that.
I know. It's like at the end
so
of the day,
simple.
It's all this neuroscience jargon.
I was gonna say it's all this deep like frontal lobe.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And then at the end, it's like just play.
The answer is play.
Just play.
Oh my god.
Just
That's
play.
So intense. Yeah.
But play in a safe way, because what happens to people who have really shut off frontal like lobes and are in that stress response, like play is threatening. So what we need to do is make play low stakes, low pressure, safe environment, you know, so it's not like if you don't get this right, you know what I mean? Like it's just play, you know, like literally the way you would as a child, where no one cared if you didn't get it right, or your dance move was shit, or the color on the paint brush was wrong. Like just play.
All right, I love how it leads back to that inner child play.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, literally.
That was a nice little journey we went on. Wow.
Yeah.
Far out.
Literally.
It's true though, because playing, my mom always says that. She's like, just go play. I'm going to like, because she's an artist, she's like, I'm just going to play. And I'm just like, I love that. Like,
I love your mom. She's such a vibe too.
Yeah, you met mom, true. Yeah, like, and it's just like, and it's so true. It used to annoy me, because I'm like, oh, what do you mean play?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I was stuck in that, like,
the pressure, exactly.
And it's like schools, like, it kind of programs you like that. Do you know what I mean? To like, and it's funny, because like, all the tests is you have 4 A, B, C, D, and that's literally it. And then all of the above. And that's all so it's kind of like program you in those every little test, every assessment to like just think 4 options and nothing more.
And it comes back to this is why I'm saying, like, the hands of the revolution is not in the hands of the people that created this fucking system.
True.
It is not
exactly,
there.
because obviously
they're just perpetuating the same shit for us. Like, it's not there. Yeah. And like, I was, the whole rehab system, right? So the other day, I think actually in the latest Joe Rogan podcast, he had like this guy who runs a different podcast. He's like a neuroscientist and whatever. But long story short, he was saying that aggression and anxiety increases in isolation, right? So literally the more lonely and disconnected you feel, the more aggressive and anxious you'll be. But then you think about what our entire rehab thing is built around, right? All our fucking jails and shit.
Is that
you isolate them.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, but okay, we're trying to help you. Like,
Yeah. But it's backwards.
It's not helping nobody.
That's so twisted. I know what you're saying. It's true.
Yeah.
It's all isolation. It's all like, fuck. I know now. The system is really fucked. Like, I've always known it, but like when you start painting the picture, you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
It's so like ingrained in like every aspect, and it's like, these like correctional facilities and like rehab. It's all the same.
It's not doing rehab.
Yeah.
It's just fueling, and that's why they love it though. Because also even in Australia, what is it like? With our indigenous population is only 3%, but like 30% of our jails.
Prison, it's crazy.
And in America, it's like even worse. Right? They're like 70% of the jails, and it's like they want to keep it down. They want to fucking keep your head just under the water, so you're
it's true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But like you said, it's all shifting and it's all changing. Yeah.
It is. But that's why I feel like this stuff is so jargony and medical terms and all of this, but like the more I study it, I want to be that translator that can explain it in ways and get people thinking outside the box.
I love that.
Finding new little ways to heal like every level as well, right? Because even on so the other thing I always love saying, and you've probably like seen me like post about it or something, like community is health, right? Literally. To the point where they have so many now like studies being done, again, like numerical data proving things that we already know, but the reason I love like going back to the whole science and like the studies is because it's a way to do this to the people that aren't listening. You're like, you weren't listening to us for how long? Fucking look.
But now listen to your own.
Fucking look.
It's your own medicine. And
exactly.
It's telling you,
and then to take a bit of power back in its own way, right? But it's like they did all these studies about success and health and all this stuff, and across all of them, it was your connections that like made you live longer, less chronic disease, less pain, less metabolic conditions, less mental health issues. Like and so literally it comes down to this like fact of, if you have good quality networks and relationships, you will live longer, you will be less stressed, and you will heal this shit. You know what I mean? You will change your genetics, and you will bring more options to your life if you are in safe environments. But I mean, it's harder said than done, because
of course,
not everyone's trauma interacts nicely with each other.
Exactly.
We see that when in our like personal relationships, right? Like fighting and like just
projecting everyone's shit.
And you're like, why isn't it easy? I just want to love. I just want to love and be loved. Like, why? You gotta
still have a guard up as well, because you just never know. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking when you're saying that about community, how important it is, I was thinking of like the pandemic, the lockdown and all that, how everyone was isolated, and how a lot of like elderly like passed away, and they were saying it was from COVID and all that, which of course maybe it was, but now I'm also thinking the loneliness, not being able to see your family, and it's just like, and it's your loved ones as well, so that creates even more of a and that's just like, when you said that with the relationships, I'm just like, that's intense, that's it's deep.
Loneliness literally is like a killer. So the other thing that's super interesting, have you heard of the rat study? No. Which basically blew my mind about this whole topic of like addiction, right? Because also that's something else that our Black and brown communities suffer with, whether it's drugs or alcohol or sex or just things like we tend to have a lot to deal with in that sense, and people dealing with their pain that's stuck and the suppressed emotions that isn't moving out in these other ways. But basically addiction is the root of it is like lack of support, right? So like what they call the countries up in the top of Europe, like Nova Scotia or Scandinavian countries.
Yeah. Denmark, Norway, all them.
Yeah, so they're probably the only real life example we have of like proper rehab. Especially in terms of addiction and crime and all this stuff.
I've heard they're good like that.
Yeah.
And with like schooling as well, I heard they're good like that. And then work weeks are like 3 days or 4 days.
They've got so many things.
All these things. Oh.
Yeah, and it's because they're applying, I think, some of these principles, especially with their rehab, which is so interesting. They got the lowest rates of relapse with addiction.
Wow.
Which you're thinking, like, all this time, people are like, oh, fuck, if you're on heroin, if you're on coke, you know.
That's it,
like,
you're done, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it's actually now showing, and they've done this rat study where, like, so it's like you have these 2 giant cages, right, of rats, and one cage is like rat fucking heaven. It's got like the wheels, and it's got all your rat friends and homies, and everybody's there, and music and food, and then they got 2 water bottles in this rat heaven. One is laced with coke, one is normal.
Wow.
And then in the other rat cage, there's nothing in there. It's a barren, empty, and then there's like 1 rat.
Yeah.
And what they actually found, and it does translate because we see this happening in these countries to humans, but when this rat was by itself and it had the option of normal water or cocaine-laced water, it always went for the cocaine-laced water to feel better. I'm alone, I'm hurting. When you gave the same rats with their friends and their homies and the games and the playfulness and the food, cocaine water or normal water, they went less for the coke, and they naturally just went for normal water because they didn't fucking need it.
Yeah, to feel that Wow.
Yeah, so then it just makes you like rethink this whole thing of like whether you know, because I have friends, I have family who have been suffering with addictions in many different ways. Now with a new wave of pill addictions, and you know,
facts.
Like it's like I've seen a lot of stuff, and it really makes you rethink about where it's all coming from, and just being like, well, hold on, like this comes back for me to this whole. We need our networks. Like, we are social creatures. We need our community.
True.
And if we have safe environments and communities, like, we can heal everything. Like, you know? Literally. Like, it blows my mind. But,
yes.
Yeah.
How do we create, like, safe communities? Do you know what I mean? Because, like, there are a lot of, like, community events. There's a lot of, like it's not like there's no community opportunities and spaces out there. But how do we, like, create ones that can like curate this kind of healing, you know what I mean? What you're saying.
I'm working on it.
that's what's in the book. That's what I've been writing, bro. I feel you.
No, I think about that all the time, literally, you know, like how do we create an event where people are still going off and having the best fun time, but are there with like real spiritual awareness. Because I want both. I want you guys to have a lit ass time, but then I also want you guys to be aware of what the fuck you're doing and thinking and projecting out. And it's like, it's hard.
Of course, no, that's what I'm asking you. I wouldn't even, I don't know, I can't know where to start, but it's tough.
It is.
I think we'll head there naturally.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You reckon?
Yeah, 100%. I'm an optimist like that, but I honestly think so.
Okay. Because, I mean, like those couple events that we were talking about, because they were refreshing, like they were a little bit different, but maybe it is something to do with like increasing all this self-awareness, right? So like the other reason I want to, you know, do like more workshops and more work with like people on an individual level is for this whole like nervous system regulation, right? That's where all that stress response comes from. And then you'll see the stress response in like the way, you know, your partner snaps at you, or the way your mum scolds you, and like we don't realize that these are micro expressions of stress response, right? Like anger and resentment and or emotional outbursts and anxious outbursts and all this stuff that a lot of us suffer with. And then as I do my own healing and I get better with handling my own anxieties and my own stuff, or, you know, and the people around me get better at it, the common line is just increasing that tolerance and self-awareness, right? The tolerance to handle the emotion. Because what happens when we react instead of respond,
I love that,
is where like, this is too fucking much, just gonna fucking throw it at you, right?
React, the action, reaction.
But then when you respond, it's like, okay, well, this is kind of an ugly little thing I'm feeling, but I got it. I got this. I can figure out I'm going to choose what to do with this next. It's no longer just the 4 options. it's now the 50 other options.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. I've heard that before. I wrote it down once when I was writing a song, but the reaction and responding. Because I feel like, I remember writing this, but it was like, reaction is like reacting, like it's an action, it's a physical thing. And then
it's
responding, yeah, it's like pondering.
Yeah,
so
nice.
Like,
I like that.
Do you know what I mean? Like sit there, like how you said,
yeah.
you ponder on like your options, what you can do. Or you let like whatever the emotion is pass through. Like you feel it, but like, yeah, you kind of in that pondering zone.
But like learning to respond instead of react, because it's always easier to react, and it's always easier to just throw it away because of how heavy and ugly it feels sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's yuck.
Sticky. It's yuck.
It's fucking yuck.
100%.
Like, man.
Yeah, you don't want to deal with that. Of course.
But then what is our other option? Because now I'm realizing, like, especially after some like experiences with like friends and partnerships where I've seen like reactiveness, and I'm like, oh my god, wait, but I don't want this. What is this? What is this? And really trying to apply that to my life, and then coming back to the whole health thing, right? If I want to heal my community, if I want to live longer, if I want to change the DNA of my people, I have to start responding. That starts with me, right? Like, because I'm gonna pass that fucking responding gene down to my kid. I have to start practicing that. So I have to go through the ugly fucking bit, and not react a bunch of times until that's stronger, and that reaction response isn't just there and happening all the time. And it's fucking dirty, tough, hard, tough work.
And it's all those like little moments where you got to catch yourself, because it gets, if you don't catch it that moment, it'll be more intense the next moment. And then it'll be, I know exactly what you're saying. But I love that outlook, that perspective of like, you know, like I want my kids. You're thinking of it from like that huge perspective of like, I don't want like the next generation from my lineage to have to deal with all this. I want them to have like a bit more, I don't know, I guess like, I want to say pure, but I know it's just like a more like,
but like a more just before, I guess, all the world came and fucked us up and all this trauma and intergeneration and whatever. Your poor like baseline, this primal, just I don't even know what. I don't know what the word is for it, but just something. Something that's different to just this, because also family units, right, is what makes up community. Whether it's like an actual like, you know, hetero family unit with kids, or it's like best friends partnership, like all these little relationships we have, like the relationship between two people or three or whatever, these intimate partnerships and relationships is where this shit starts.
That's where it begins. You're right. That's the foundation.
Exactly. And so we have to start with how we're responding to our mother, to our brother, to our partner. We really got to start looking at that, how we're treating them and how we're treating ourselves, because it's in these little expressions that these genes are either getting stronger with the reactions and we're just passing that shit down, or we're building something new. So it's like, it's work, it's deep work, but it's for the fucking greater good, because literally next generations will be different if we teach regulation, if we teach and that's where that whole tolerating the emotion thing comes in, right? Because like when you can't tolerate it, it's like you're dysregulated and it's just all too much, and so you react because you can't. It's like a system overwhelm. It's like all the lights are fucking on and they're like just flashing and screaming, and you have to react because it's like, oh my god, it's too much.
I see what you're saying. I was thinking like system overload, like a computer when it freaks
literally
out.
Or like, you know, when you're like mayday, and all the things are flashing red and you're just you know, and so in that moment, of course, that panic, like, it makes sense that our physiology just snaps to the reaction. Like, I get it. But also, fuck, you gotta fight and pull that fucking steering wheel back this way. And pull it towards tolerating that emotion more, which is what that nervous system regulation is, which is like sitting with that ugliness. Building the tolerance to sit with that ugliness from start to finish. And that's responding. That in itself is that change. That's right there. And like to add another visual to it, like the responding kind of a brainwave pathways, you literally got to imagine it like little it's like electric poles, like you know, so from like light pole to light pole, that's like your neurons in your brain
bouncing off each other.
Exactly. And so these neural pathways, like, they get strengthened, and the brain is neuroplastic, which means it fucking shapeshifts.
It's constantly.
And so what happens when you strengthen one pathway and stop giving into the other? That one, literally like an old highway, gets fucking grown over and repurposed.
I like that. I was picturing that like some strawberry grown over.
Literally, it's like it's not needed anymore. And that's how we make this epigenetic change, right?
Woo.
Like we keep practicing responding until that neural pathway is strong and the reaction pathway falls the fuck off.
Wow. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like a muscle. You fucking train it. Like you literally gotta train it.
And then when you fall back, then that other one starts building up again.
You know, and so it is this balance, and it is this conscious effort, and this is choice. It is a choice to be different, to act different, to try different. And it's not easy, but
it's not easy.
Like, what is the other option?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you can't bypass that shit. You gotta face it.
Yeah,
it's true. That's what I'm learning more and more. It's like this like spiritual journey or whatever you like to call it, which I feel like is just a healing journey now. That's what I've noticed. That's where I'm at with it. I'm like, it's just like it's just healing. You know what I mean? Like at the beginning, like, you know, the spiritual awakening, everything's all like fucking dandelions and shit. Then you realize, no,
I'm just about to sift through some
this shit
like,
is like so much
way
deeper. Yeah, exactly. It ain't like fucking some fun little fucking ride. Like it's just this like intense.
Like, you know, it is fun and it's so like lush and rewarding.
100%.
But it's
but it comes with a lot. Yeah, it comes with a lot of just like purging, and I know exactly what you're saying, and it's just like, but having conversations like this and having techniques to like deal with it, like for example sitting with that stuff. For example, when you sit with something like that, are you just like, how does that work? Are you doing like a breathwork thing? Are you okay,
massively. So biggest thing to like process emotions is to breathe as you're feeling that real ugliness. Like I wrote somewhere in it, so they were like, you know how stress is like cortisol, so it's this thing that courses through. It's like it's a chemical that your body makes when it's stressed, that then changes your organs, your heart, the way your muscles work, everything.
Crazy.
But then also tears, when you're crying, releases endorphins and like natural body-made oxytocin. And so it's literally, it's like, cry, fucking scream and cry it out.
So you're saying
do all the things that you need to. If you need to scream into a pillow instead of, you know, if you need, do these bodily things whilst you're feeling the ugly, instead of getting it locked up in here and trying to avoid, react, or like push it away and suppress.
That's deep. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So when I'm like nowadays in some real heavy shit, like I'll just if I have to bowl over and hug myself, if I have to like
do it,
really deep, like minimum 4 breaths in, 4 breaths out, diaphragm breathing as well, because it has this huge nerve which connects through your whole body, which is an emotional nerve, and all this, you know, solar plexus, all this crazy breathing. Fucking remember to breathe through it, and then whatever comes after, if you need to like yell and cry and scream, wring your hands, do it. Breathe and do it, and get to the other side.
Wow.
Yeah.
But a lot of it's physical to get through it, because when you're explaining, a lot of that stuff was physical.
It's all physical.
Yeah.
Because, and that's half the reason why almost talk therapy doesn't work. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough unless you're getting into the somatics of the body and moving the emotions through and out, through and out. Yeah, it's all in the body, because of the way that like emotions are generated. It's generated in your body. Like, what's a gut feeling, right? When you're panicking and stressed, you feel it all. Here. It's right there.
Butterflies, everything.
Exactly. You know, when you're angry and stuff, you know, it's all body.
True.
Your body
your jaw clenches.
Everything
gets clammy.
Like, you know, and you're all hot. You're raging hot. What is making your physiology raging hot? You're not getting a light of, like, you're not in a sauna. Your body has just generated that much heat because you're angry.
Wow.
It's all in the body. So there's no other way to really feel emotion unless you really fucking sink into it in the body and whatever it is that is coming up. And that's why, like, one of the tools with emotions is like just stop for a second. And as you start breathing, like name it and locate it. Okay, I feel really fucking frustrated and it's here. I feel real anguish and it's here. You know, that weight and the heaviness and that ugliness, like pick the point that you're feeling it and then, okay, breathe and then keep moving, you know, like.
Wow, yeah.
It's all in the body.
It's all,
Our bodies are the most amazing signaling system, right? Like, like, because stress, like, you know, people can either eat a lot from stress or eat nothing, right?
One or the other. That's true.
You know, because it's all coming. This feedback system is coming from our bodies. When people are angry, they have a lot of liver issues, and then the way they're processing things and skin and all this stuff, like. your body is literally telling you where and what is happening and what you need to, like, it's a huge,
it has its own little intelligence, and it's telling you.
It's fucking beautiful. It's amazing.
So one of the, like, the solutions would be to get in tune with your body, would you say? You know what I mean? So, like, tune into your body, tune into the feelings, whatever's subtle, these little, just like go there. Do you know what I mean? Go there through meditation, or just focus.
And meditation, I think, can be really hard for some people sometimes. It almost like amps up the anger and anxiety, you know?
Exactly.
So I don't even recommend, like, me as a person who's treating people, like, I don't always recommend meditation straight up first, like, you know?
I love that.
Because sometimes your own mind will fucking tear you apart.
Right. That's me, man. I'm an Aquarius. That's me. That's me in a nutshell. The mind. That's why I was saying, like, playing the Yadaki Dij helps more than just doing a meditation, because it's more physical. It's more the vibrations. My whole, like, head is moving. Do you know what I mean? The vibrations going through every little, like, vein. It's just, it's different, you know? It's pushing energy out. It's moving everything around. And I'm not as, even though I do have moments where I'm still thinking and I start getting a bit over anxious. But it's not like when I'm meditating, when I'll just be like overthinking and oh, go focus back on your breath. And it's just like, it is back and forth.
I fucking feel you.
But you know what? I want to ask this. Have you ever done a plant medicine? Because when you're talking about all these like releases, it just reminded me
what kind of plant medicine?
I'm talking all of them, because I've done ayahuasca.
Ooh,
and that's what happened to me. A lot of just screaming, crying. Purging, like just physical movements, just like. And I just, like, I can't remember everything, but I just remember a lot of it, especially the first ceremony, was a lot of that. Just like,
oh, you've done it a couple of times?
Well, it was like over like a,
Okay. Cool. Amazing. I haven't done ayahuasca, but I would love to.
Oh my God.
You know, God.
Dude.
I so believe in psychedelics. That's the other reason that I'm getting into clinical psych.
Yeah.
Because give it, 4 or 5 years, the same way that now weed is being legalized and being used medicinally.
Yeah.
That shit is coming, and that's another ancient wisdom that we are coming full circle to, that our people knew, man. Facts, on.
Bro. They've been eating mushrooms since they thought. Those mushrooms are teachers right there. And literally, like, what I've learned through doing, like, the plant medicine, like, I wouldn't say there's a right way or wrong way, but with, like, intention is a whole different game.
Exactly. It's not, you know, you can have fun with it, but
if you set an intention, oh my God, like, it becomes such a powerful like tool into yourself. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, it's still not like pretty, but it's so healing. It moves you. It's just like, so I always tell people, like, set an intention before you do whatever plant medicine you're doing. Like, even like whatever you're doing, set that intention, write it down or whatever.
I love that.
Because it will change the whole trip and that whole experience. And it'll just like, it'll cater to where you need to go in that moment, where you need to heal.
I want to bring that into my therapy eventually when it gets legalized. Like, there's, in America, there's already certain areas that are doing treatment with ketamine, MDMA, and psilocybin mushrooms. There is only one little, like, unregistered kind of course prepping up for Australia to legalize in Canberra right now, only offered to clinical psychologists. I was like, well, that's it. I'm
a clinical psychologist. That's why I'm doing the course.
100% so. Because I don't want to just be a clinical psychologist. I want to be able to use MDMA, and psilocybin in my healing process for real, straight up. I'm not even going to lie. Because that shit for, you know, complex trauma with all this brain, like, it'll open that brainwave. Because sometimes if you're real stuck in some real pain,
you need that to blast it open. It's true. That's what definitely. And
if you do it with intention, with someone facilitating and guiding you,
that's huge though as well.
Yeah.
Having someone facilitate, having like a shaman or a guide, whatever, facilitate, whatever you want to give the word, the label. But that is another game changer. That and intention. It's like you must have it if you want to do it for healing. Do you know what I mean? It's just
exactly. So no, 100% believe in that shit.
The stigma has to kind of shift. I feel a little bit. I feel like they've really like just distorted it.
Fucking system.
They've distorted it heavy, like,
because it doesn't support capitalism. How can you have people that don't want to just work themselves, but because also with the whole feeling the emotion and healing in that way, you have to fucking slow down.
True.
How can you slow down when you're living in this capitalist society that's like money, go, 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 and we're overworked and we're busy and we're trying to make something of ourselves, But then our real healing for all these generations to come comes from just a moment to step back.
Facts.
Like,
you're right, because you're constantly, the capitalism, you're right, you're constantly chasing the dollar in the rat race. You don't have time to have those moments with self. So you don't have time to actually feel, oh wow, what is that stress that I'm feeling in this? You're just like, you're ready to get to work the next day or get to bed to go. It's so true.
So that's
fucking
why
capitalism.
I know, but that's why they criminalized it, right? Because they were like, this is making people too free and happy.
Yeah.
Quick, it's illegal. Put it away. Like,
let's demonize it.
Yeah.
Look at what they're doing. Like, look at what it makes you do.
Yeah.
It's true. Once you see behind the fucking veil, it's fucking, it's just like,
yeah, you know, you just want to fucking rip the whole veil off and be like, guys,
hey,
everyone.
Here it is. Look, but I've always felt that with I'm like, how are we still in a capitalist society? Like, how do we all still sit here and just be like, nah, this is all right. Like, we'll just keep. I'm just like, oh, that's what probably eats me up.
Yeah.
Like a little every day. And I feel like a lot of people...
Literally me every day too.
Yeah, just like, it's like, even though I'm still, you know, I'm trying to stay balanced and everyone's on their own, you know, everything happens for a reason. But there's this little just, it's always, you know, like, why? Why have we not all been like, enough is enough?
Yeah.
I mean, when does it get to that point? I always feel like it's going to, like, that's what I always want. Like, there's a point where everyone's like, nah. Enough.
And we kind of thought that 2020 lockdown was going to be it, right? Everyone was like, kind of like awakening, coming out of it. And I was like, it's happening, like... And then fucking they opened lockdown and they just threw us right back into it. Like, I was like, oh god, right, like it was like turbulence, man, fucking turbulence. Going back in, you're like, we're doing this again. We're doing this again. No,
it's so true. That's a great analogy. The turbulence.
Yeah,
I remember that, and I remember because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, this is a mass awakening, because I remember people were they are still waking up.
Yeah, it's true.
But I was just like, no way, everyone's gonna go back to normal after this shit. Hell no. Yeah. And then it's just like, no.
Yeah.
Because everyone got their money, everyone got their... I know, it's...
But, you know, and that is an even bigger question. Like, how the fuck do you change all of society to be less capitalist?
Yeah. What? I know. It's so ingrained in us as well.
I don't know. But that's why it's interesting when this little intersection between the spiritual ancient wisdoms comes into things like science, because you're like, well, then where are we about to take this?
Yeah, true.
If we're bringing these ancient wisdoms of mushrooms and ket and... I don't know. Ket, I guess, is more... And MDMA is still, I guess, synthesized.
Yeah, synthetic,
but still the way it can be used.
Yeah.
If we're bringing that into our clinical or medical world, where are we about to take it? Like, I mean, it may still take a while, but it's interesting to me, because I'm like, this has never before been seen.
Facts.
It's just been very, very hush-hush. So, I don't know. It's like, yeah, literally things to ponder, like food for thought, where I'm like, you know, but it does definitely feel like, you know, what we're just the daily grind. It doesn't really allow for things like this.
Hell no.
You've got to really make time. And,
literally. Yeah. Like, I feel like when I started, like, kind of healing myself more is when I started, like, doing less work, like, working less.
Yeah.
And then that meant less money and stuff. But, like, physically and mentally, exactly. I'm in such a better place, do you know what I mean? Such a more, like, I wouldn't even say better, just more at peace with myself, do you know what I mean? More at peace with just life.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, once you get back into that grind, you're like, oh.
You feel it, like, literally you start to lose that.
Man, if I don't do my, like, like, if I don't have my, like, grounding technique, if I don't go dig or, like, I feel weird that day.
Yeah.
If I don't do yoga, I'm just like,
it's just something's a little off.
Something's off. You're right. It's like it's not, everything is like alignment. It's like out of alignment, and you can feel it. And you're like, how many more days can I do it without? And it's just like, but then the silver lining is when you do that, like, yoga session, you know, your little yin yoga after, like, not doing it for a week, you appreciate the shit out of it. God, that's so true. You're like, wow. That's so true. You're like, I love this. So, like, that's a silver lining.
Yeah,
it's like,
it really amps that love for it.
Yeah, because when you're doing it all the time, you kind of become desensitized to it too.
Which is sad in itself, hey? Which is, because, I mean... I sometimes like liken it to like brushing teeth, right? Like we fucking do that every night and every day. But that, like, there's like, we need to tend to our soul the same way. Do you know what I mean? Like, why don't we have practices that are the same way we do that for our teeth and we brush our body, or we exercise every day and just like pump out the weights at the gym, and we know that that's a part of my day, that's like the 2 hours of my morning or whatever. Why aren't we having these certain practices for these emotions, for this soul.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting because we don't really be like, oh, I'm kind of sick of brushing my teeth. I'm just not going to do it for a week. Like, you know, we don't do that, but we do that with all this other stuff for our mind, body, soul. Like,
we neglect it. We don't give it that same value as fucking brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
It's so true. That's a great observation. No, that's a good one.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, and I'm really trying to get myself as well into it because, like, I'm human, I'm fucking flawed too, and I don't have this routine that I'm like constantly doing, and I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, well, why not? Why don't I? But I guess it's because it's the sticky ugly.
Yeah.
Because brushing your teeth is always like it's expected, it's normal, you know what's about to happen and come. Whereas doing this tending to the soul is different every fucking day. Something happens in your life, at work, with your personal life, it's different every day.
True.
So to come to that table and be like, all right, well, here's my soul brushing teeth thing that I'm gonna do. It's yesterday was so easy though. Oh, I don't want to do it today.
Today's more harder. Yeah. Today hurts a bit more.
Exactly.
It's true. Yeah.
So I think that's why it's not appropriate as like regular as the other things, but it should be.
It should. And I think a big thing is like having, like I said before, like facilitators and like people to help guide you through it. Do you know what I mean? Like, help is huge.
Just take off the fucking, just take off a load from you.
Yeah,
I guess,
exactly.
well.
And just having that like guidance, you know?
Community, the support.
Then it goes back to your community, the support. You're right.
It literally, exactly, because like, have you also heard of someone called Brene Brown?
No, I haven't.
So she, like, in particular, I actually don't know.
It's a great name, by the way.
Brene
Brown. Like, bruh. Like, cause I love I'm on wordsmith. So like, when I hear shit like that, I'm like, fuck, that's a nice name.
Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. What is she?
I'm like, oh shit, what is she? Is she just like she research, but she does a lot of work with emotion, right?
Yeah.
But her, like, she's specialized in vulnerability, which is interesting because, like, for her and like all of her work is showing how when you're vulnerable, you know, like when you break down that wall and you can be vulnerable with people, like not only do you increase intimacy, do you increase connection, but you also had to do that just then at the same time. Yeah. But like, yeah, like it fosters more of that that acceptance. In the same way that, like, if someone were to comment on something that you fucking loved about yourself, if someone said shit about my tattoos, but I know I love them, no one can say shit about them because I fucking love them. Whereas if I was like, I don't know, like, I mean, they're kind of alright, like, I don't know, and someone goes, oh, I don't know, they're fucking whack, you'll start to think about it. That's kind of probably similar for all the stuff that we're dealing with inside, right? If we really have a safe place to be vulnerable, to expose all this stuff, that's another way to move through it. Do you know?
Yes.
So yeah, having this like sense of community and network and all this stuff is so helpful for moving us through this sticky, ugly.
Yeah. What makes someone feel safe?
That's a really good question. I've been thinking about that a lot recently too, and I think it is ultimately maybe a bit of non-judgment, right? Holding space and non-judgment.
Love that. That's a great answer. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Well, you know, like, and especially with the emotional safety or physical safety, right? Like, if someone's all on the top of you and, or, you know, reacting straight away, and if they can hold a bit of space and let you kind of feel it, you know, if you need to break open and be sticky, ugly all over the table, it's okay.
Do it. Yeah.
You know,
I'm here to help. I'm here to clean up. Yeah.
Exactly.
I understand what you're going through.
I'm not gonna be like, don't get on my book.
Don't
do it over
there in the corner.
Exactly.
Make sure you spray it after.
Exactly. So really, kind of that non-judgmental holding space for each other.
I love that answer. That's a great answer. Yeah.
But even that, we can only do that if we are able to respond. Because if we're reactive, which is why I'm like, like our communities, and especially in our Black and brown communities, need less reactivity. And, you know, I don't know about how your family unit is and kind of how your lineage comes in and what you've seen, but like, especially like going back to the whole like Indian society, the way our Indian men are sometimes, the way our Indian women are sometimes, it's a very learned behaviors, right? Yeah. And, you know, we'll call it like, you know, ego, we'll call it like whatever we want to call it, but it's reactivity. It's a lack of self-awareness. And and like all of it for me just keeps coming back to these relationships and these little moments where we have to stop being so fucking reactive, hold space for each other, be aware of, because someone might be sticky ugly all over the table, and that's going to make your sticky ugly come up.
Come out, yeah.
And if you don't know how to handle yours, and then you're all fucking just on the table,
it's
like
a mess.
It's a mess.
Yeah, facts. It's so true. We've been there. Everyone would have been in that situation a few times.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Those moments.
Those real messy ones. You're like, oh fuck.
Wow, yeah,
like I really didn't mean for that to. But it's real ugly now.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's so true.
Yeah. And so it just keeps for me in my head circling back to I can say we need to be non-judgmental and hold space, but we need to be able to be non-judgmental and hold space for ourselves.
First. Yes.
So
it always starts with the self.
Yeah,
That's what always comes back
you're
to.
Like fucking damn it. Sometimes
It's so true. I was trying to get away from that, but you gotta. It all starts with you at the end of the day.
And so that's why the whole nervous system playing a bit more and then tolerating emotions a bit more, and all of that is so pivotal for the health of our families, of our relationships, and of our community as generations go through and go down. And it's just fucking important work. So I'm like,
it's true. No, this is what you're doing is so important. I
fucking feel that, you know,
you feel that calling. That's why you're doing it as well. And it takes a lot. Good on you, by the way, because it takes like a warrior spirit. Do you know what I mean, to be able to do this. 100%, especially in this time that we're in.
And
this
especially
incarnation, you know what I mean?
And there's still a lot of because when you look at even in our society, even the way Sydney's spread out, right? The other night I was just out with girlfriends for a friend's birthday, and I met this girl who's doing social work, right? And she does it in particular for sexual trauma for children. And I was like, because she was like, SVU kind of thing. I do that in real life, but for children, And I was like, God. Fuck. And she was like, yeah. And I asked her what areas of Sydney she works in. And guess where she works? West. All
really?
West. And the number of cases I fucking filed through. And who are the populations that live in the West?
All the brown,
all the brown and all the black. And that's... And if you look at, anything like that in our society problems, domestic violence, where is it happening? In our black and brown communities, more so than ever. All these socio-demographic issues, when I look at it, the map and the statistics, and even in America, in Australia, where is it happening?
Anywhere in the world.
It's in our black and brown fucking people. And that fucking hurts me, but also means that this shit is even more our black and brown men and women. Oh my God, we need this more than ever.
100%.
We need this more than
100%.
ever.
And it's because you feel like it's that lack of self-love as well for yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, literally. Because also that's something that wasn't modeled and isn't taught.
Yeah.
We have this, what's the word I'm looking for? Not a stigma. The other one, it's a
taboo.
No, the other one.
I know.
It's along those lines.
Yeah.
It's when people are Indians and curry.
What's stereotype?
Stereotype.
Yeah.
Of black and brown males being angry, or the angriness in our communities, right? But also when Brene Brown, when you study emotion, anger is this actually it's kind of like this umbrella emotion. It's really interesting. It's always hiding sadness and grief.
100%. I've noticed that, and hurt.
Yeah,
I've noticed that. The whole anger, there's this hurt, or anger is not just this.
Sometimes maybe it is when you're really, but that's a different kind of anger. That's a very.
It's aggression.
It's almost like a leadership anger. That's different, but usually anger and that reactive anger. The thing sitting under that fucking bubbling under the surface is hurt, sadness, grief.
Wow.
And the stereotypes of our black and brown communities being these really kind of over the top angry kind of people, 100%. We're not modeling and haven't had enough modeling of this self-love, of this calm, of all these things.
That's deep. Yeah. It's true. I like how you put that with the anger, the three under it. Yeah, it's so true. And that probably could heal, or help you deal with anger, knowing that. Do you know what I mean? Because, when anger comes up, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm angry, but what am I really?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Am I hurt, I'm going through some grief, there's some sad, like what is it? You kind of like trace it back.
If you choose to, but again, but then that's why we have so much, like in India especially, oh my god, like the domestic violence and marital rape and all these statistics, like it's like disgusting, right? And and all, the domestic violence even in Sydney in our indigenous communities is so much higher than anywhere in our white communities. It is hard for our people to really look into it, because I feel like it's an iceberg as well. And we're not just looking at, me being angry today. We're looking at my mom's anger and her grandmother's and hers and hers and her, like
the generational trauma. You're right.
And that's some heavy shit to work through. But it even on an individual level, it takes so much bravery to fucking work through that.
100%. Yeah, a lot of the time, like, when you, like, I've noticed, like, when you going through this healing stuff, you're like, fuck, I ain't just doing this for me, bro. Like, I mean, my whole fucking ancestral lineage. And, like, when you realize that, man, you're just like, fucking hell. Like, it's just like, wow. And then it gives you this kind of, like, moment as well, where you're like, okay, you kind of have that feeling of, like, importance, you know what I mean? Like, not you were chosen, but like...
But just literally, like, I'm here for a purpose.
You have, exactly.
I'm here to break patterns.
Exactly.
Like, and don't take that lightly. I feel like people should feel like this God presence in their body.
That's
and
what
be like, hell yeah, I'm doing this shit.
Exactly.
Like, because that's what gives you the power to keep going with it.
Yeah, because if you didn't, you're going to crumble.
If you're just like, I'm a nobody, whatever, then, like, you fucking choose whatever the fuck, like, whatever.
You're right.
You have to feel like I'm a fucking warrior, goddess, and God, and this is, like, powerful. Like, this is important, like,
Yeah.
Yeah, so
it's so true.
Completely.
I love that. Yeah, because it's intense for people when you say like, yeah, I'm a goddess, I'm a god, I'm a this and that. Because like, like people that resonate with that is because they have that same not belief, knowing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's not I'm a god or goddess over you. No, it's I'm in my own right.
Yes, like, I'm in my own godliness. Yes.
Yeah, and you in your own right. Like, we're each individual. We're all gods and goddesses, kings and queens, kind of thing.
Facts.
It's not over you. It's self-sovereignty. Do you know what I mean? Like,
ooh, I like that self-sovereignty. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah.
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 Far out. Have you seen this show, like, speaking of how it always comes back to self, called Big Mouth on Netflix?
I've seen a
like
little
ads
bit of
it or something.
Ads,
I was not expecting it to go, but they've definitely had to have, I bet you, like, psychologists on board crafting that show.
Yeah.
Because, like, in the end, it is all about, like, learning emotions, dealing with them, going through them. Did not expect it.
I need to watch this. It's a cartoon, right?
Yeah, it's like a adult animation, like very crude humor at times.
Yeah.
Like, it's set in like high school days, I suppose. And it's like very sexualized, I guess, because like, they're going through puberty and they're like going through their hormones and all this stuff. But at the same time, that's when we start really feeling shit, right? Like, because it's like when you get to, like, like for me, I reckon, it probably would have been, you always have emotions, but when you really start to fucking battle with them, it is
high school. Facts. So true.
Yeah, because before that, it's kind of cruisy. You're like, I'm sad, I'm angry,
exactly.
I'm hungry or something, but then life starts to really happen to you, high school and beyond. And
that's a good point. It's true.
Yeah, and they have a very visual way of like representing it. Like, won't give you too many spoilers or whatever, but like just one of them was like Tito, the anxiety mosquito. You know, and he's like buzzing around your head, just like, oh my god, like freaking out.
Oh my god, like a mosquito. Like
like literally someone like, and that's sometimes.
Great representation of anxiety.
Exactly.
Fuck. That's on point. I need to watch that. I'm gonna watch that today.
Yeah. And like it it deepens as the seasons go through, and
far out.
Yeah, and it really kind of literally teaches a bit of self-regulation in a way which is like fun and visual and like it was very interesting.
And it's important to have it fun, because if it's too like scientific and shit, people log out.
Exactly.
That's the thing as well.
Exactly.
And you know what? Netflix is doing that a lot. I don't know if it's Netflix, but have you seen Midnight Gospel?
Yeah.
That one was fucked.
It was so fucking cool.
I was like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, this is so deep.
Did you know? Yeah.
And then I heard it's an actual like psychology.
Yeah.
Or was it a podcast or something? Or?
It was a podcast, and then they got the guys that made Rick and Morty, like the animators, to get on board. And the reason why it's a mindfuck is because what's happening is they're forcing you to use both sides of your brain at the same time.
Bruh. I felt like I got smarter from watching it. It's funny you say that because I'm watching it and I feel like, because I'm like, it's distracting me.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's so deep. This thing is like walking somewhere, it's got like 3 heads.
Yeah.
But like they're saying the most deep, and then it's kind of connecting though to like the cartoon itself. And I'm like, and then after it, and it was so sad because we got to like I didn't think I watched the last episode because it was too sad for me. It was getting so intense, and I'm just like, it was just overwhelmed. Like, this is too much, but it was such a good show, and like I love shows like that, like this Big Mouth one you're talking about as well, where like I can still have that like entertainment aspect because I think it's important to have that play, that fun, that entertainment kind of get like not taken away. But like, yeah, just have
has to be involved in it.
Yeah.
Which is why even when we're talking about the events, we're like, well, how do we still have people having a litty time, but being fucking spiritual badasses at the same time? Like, how do we fucking piece this puzzle?
Together,
like,
yeah.
we gotta have it together because that's gonna facilitate more vulnerability. It's gonna facilitate more safe spaces and more like, you know, people are relaxed and they're playing and then they're dancing, but then maybe we're having, you know, cool, dope, conscious conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
the healing can work.
Yeah,
it's so true.
Yeah, no, you definitely that show was so fucking cool.
It's
I remember
so
that.
intense.
Yeah,
it's so deep. I was like, what is this? Like, this is
what the fuck?
I'm like, people watch it. I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
it is such a mind fuck. Yeah,
they got a few like that. They do it. There was another one like to do with like conspiracies. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah?
And it was like another cartoon
Cool.
and I'm like, dude, these guys are playing with, they're either playing with people's head, like it's just a lot. Do you know what I mean? Because all the predictive programming and all that stuff's in all these shows.
Predictive programming.
Have you heard of predictive programming?
No, what do you mean?
Oh my god! So it's like, I don't want to butcher it, so like we can look it up later.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure it's like, so like in these movies and like shows, especially like Hollywood and stuff, they'll show you these things that happen to kind of prepare you for what's to come. To program you, do you know what I mean?
Like, of what's to come in society?
It's just in reality. So, for example, like, I like to use, like, Planet of the Apes, the whole virus thing and all that. That was years ago when they did Planet of the Apes.
And
I don't know if you've seen it. And I feel like
I've seen a couple of them, maybe not all of them.
Yeah, but I feel like it was subconsciously programming everyone for like what was to come with like this whole this could be conspiracy, that I mean. So like conspiracy right here. Do you know what I mean? But it's nice to go down this rabbit hole and just see. But yeah, it's called predictive programming.
They say that about like that would be like what they say about The Simpsons, right? When they say like you fucking predicted everything.
And you're like, what the fuck?
Oh wow, that's fucking creepy.
It's weird. That shit like wigs me out.
Yeah, but then it almost kind of confirms little biases we have about like government is fucked.
Yeah,
they're doing this on purpose, and they're like just trying to keep us down.
Yeah,
and, like,
literally.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's at least knowing now, like deep down, especially after COVID and stuff. I think everyone's under this like. Yeah, but it's just waiting to like kind of explode like a volcano.
Yeah,
like just
simmering and then, you know, but then even that, I think about it because like, say back in the day, the people that were really popping off that top of the volcano were all those leadership figures that got fucking assassinated. Or like Black Panthers that got shut the fuck down. And so now when we're like, okay, well, we're all here, but now we have none of that, like,
the leadership,
real,
you're right.
like, doing that shit.
That
so
warrior energy is true because they took them all out. And then, is that not more clear? It's like, bro, look how many, why does it, all the good, not good people, but all the people that are fighting for, like, just, like, justice and, like, fucking peace, why do they all end up dying?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it also, in a way, like, sends a message to everyone else being like, well, I don't want to try too hard.
And that's the thing. Exactly.
I can't go too far because I'm fucking scared. Like,
bro, literally, that was when I was writing music, like, when I first started. That literally used to cross my mind a lot. Yeah? I'm like, should I really go this deep?
Yes.
Should I really say this shit? Like, do you know what I mean? This, like, because... fuck, what happens if I do pop off or something and then like there is a following, but then I see someone like Kendrick and I'm just like, nah bro, that guy's protected. Yeah, there's some energy.
But then you also see again, I just had his name and then it literally just left when I tried to say it. 2 years ago he got shot in front of his shop.
Nipsey.
Oh
yeah, no, that was.
Do you know what I mean? We have both sides.
I cried for that shit. That was intense.
Like,
yeah, no, you're right.
Sides.
That was sad.
So it's just like they're still trying to get them, and maybe it is, you know, because I don't know. Do you reckon it's because Kendrick's like not mainstream, but he's. Yeah, you know, he started off with Good Kid, Mad City, and he really had those bangers, but they were still saying shit. Like,
that's what I
mean. Brilliant album.
That's why I think he's a glitch.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, how the fuck is he doing? Like, because like this guy, have you heard the new album?
I did. I recently just listened to
like,
it.
speaking of like generational trauma and stuff, you know, the daddy issues one.
Yeah.
Like,
again, Sticky Ugly. That one. I was listening to it, and as a woman, even I was like, ooh, like, you know, it was sending. Yeah, it was.
I'm like, dude, this guy gone vulnerable. Like, this guy really like that album was therapeutic as fuck. Like when you like, if you really like tune in and just listen to it, it's therapy, man. It's like beautiful.
It's poetry. It's literally. That's what I've been feeling about Kendrick. Like ever since his To Pimp a Butterfly album, he switched it. He's straight poetic now. Did you know that album?
In South America.
He was in Cape Town.
Yeah, that's
when he like wrote that album.
It's crazy when you say I'm like, bro, he was born in South Africa, and then like he has a skit there where he like met a homeless person or some shit. How much a dollar cost? I think that's the one.
That's the one.
He was in South Africa and it gave him some. And you know what's funny? This album, where he was when it was released, he was in Ghana.
Really? Wait, this one? The most recent one?
Cool. Missed him around the big steppers.
He wrote it in... No,
he didn't write it, but when it was released, he was chilling in Ghana.
Sick.
Like in the culture, playing soccer, at skate parks at the
Ghana's
beach.
Sick.
I'm like, what the I'm like, this dude, like, God knows what's up. Kendrick, you're coming podcast.
You said you are half Ghanaian?
Half Ghanaian, yeah.
I've been to Ghana. It reminded me so much of India.
Wow.
When I stepped off the plane, it just felt like an African India. The energy of like the city. Like,
and it's tropical as it's right near the equator.
So hot, and the beaches and the way that people like, because I mean, when I go traveling, I'm never like staying in hotels and like this, like the main parts. I go into the
I love that,
Have you been to Ghana?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I've never been to Ghana. My mom's Lebanese. I've been to Lebanon. All these places, and I know I need to go. Like I know within my soul, like I know it's gonna activate so much, and I know like literally like my soles on my feet. Like if I take off my shoes and I put my feet on that earth, I just know. Do you know what I mean? But I haven't been. Please tell me what Ghana's like. What was it like?
It was, I mean, because I went in just before in 2019 and 2020.
The Beyond the Return, the year. You went for the year of return.
Yeah, I went for a year of return. It was beautiful.
I heard that was amazing.
I mean, like at the airport, man, they had big bands and energy, just welcoming everybody. It was beautiful. Because I remember like Ghanaian president or whatever was like, anyone from the African diaspora, like this is your home, you want to come. Wow. Crazy energy that year. Like it was beautiful. And then they had that huge Afro Nations. Every single Afrobeat artist in the world was there.
Did you go to that?
Yeah. It was good.
Bro, Sounds of Africa was nothing. You're like, Sounds of Africa was dope. Hell no. You went to like, you were. It was
good.
Wow.
Yeah, it was good. It was very powerful. And that was the first time as well I got braids. Because for so many years, even through my like living in Cape Town, never touched it. Because I had this sense of respect and from what I heard from African Americans, you know, like living in a Western world, I was like, this is something I can never do. But what changed for me, and when I realized, I had the craziest experience in Ghana. So there's a random suburb called Dansoman. Dansoman. I hope I'm saying it right. But I stayed there, and it's like 20, 30, 40 minutes from like Accra, like the central city, you know. So it's completely just town, like it's just like hood, right? Like it's normal suburb. And one morning, this is how I travel. I'll just like walk the streets. Like when I first get to any city, I'll spend the first like 2 or 3 days just walking on foot, just through the streets and just getting a vibe of places, right?
Feeling the energy,
Yeah, exactly, you know. And so I'm walking these streets, and I'm like, cool, I'm getting hungry. And I just kind of come up to this like lady, and she had like this cart, and she's making all this food. And I obviously like, she's got like egusi soup, and she's got this, and she's got fufu, and then she's that was like my first time properly like eating all that stuff, and I sat down, and I think they call it something different in Ghana, but essentially it's like in South India, in my culture, like this is not even in North India and stuff, and part of my mum's family is from like rural South India as well, so we've got like plots of land with coconut trees and bananas and stuff. Oh my
god, amazing.
So like I've experienced that life, and from this like little, because South India is very different, more traditional than like the north, and we have this meal that for us it's made from the brown version of the rye, but it's like it's fufu. I think that's the sticky
fufu. 100%.
And so when you eat it with egusi soup, like I remember like I sat down and she gives me this and a plate of the soup, and then I touched it, and as soon as I touched it, I'm like, I know this. Familiar, I know this. And then I look at her, I'm like, you don't chew this, right? And she's like, no, you just dip and swallow. And we have something in South India, like an ancient, like you know what I mean? Like it's like a very just like traditional,
that's crazy,
simple dish of South India, like from like where my people are from. And then I've flown all the way to Ghana and randomly,
it's the same food.
And I'm like, but you guys are here and here, and like and then
you
I
were
was
drawn
like,
to it as well. How do you, like, out of all places?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So that was like, that was one of the moments where I was like, oh my god, there's some connection. You know, there is somewhere along the line where we were probably like, you know, our countries or this, like, you know, like, so that was one moment. And then walking through another little like market area, and there was this lady with like the waist chains and making all the beads. And like I kind of like go up closer to her, and then I look at her ears, and I don't know if you know what jhumkas are. Like it's a very, I could probably like draw it, but it's like, it looks like a chandelier earring that Indian women wear.
Okay.
And it's again like a very Indian thing. Like it's something that we wear with our outfits. It's like the, you know, it's the visual of it was so Indian. And then she was wearing them, making these waist chains, and then I was like, where did you get those earrings, kind of thing? And then she starts going on about how she's like grown up on Bollywood, fucking loves it.
Wow.
And we make a deal, which is like, you know what, I'll give you some waist beads and I want you to wear them, and the next time you come back, bring me some Indian style bangles, because that's what I want, you know? And just again, this like India-Africa connection. It was fucking beautiful. It was fucking beautiful. And then, that was the first time afterwards I went to this like other little braiding a hair shop with these women, and and I was like, I just felt connected, and I was like, I'm doing this.
Because you're like, the cultures are so similar. You found all these it was like a sign for you.
Yeah, it was. And it was beautiful because I was like, it's beautiful when we share it, actually, in an intentional way too. Maybe the way that they're talking about like what do you call it, like appropriation in the terms of in Western world is way different, but when you do it with intention, it's different.
And reverence for it.
Yeah, and respect and reverence and like all these different things. And also, you know, I'm like, I'll teach you how to tie a sari. You braid my, like, in this real give and take way. It's such a beautiful connection.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. It's like teaching each other their own culture. It's like a trading thing. I know what you're saying. An exchange of energy. Yeah,
and very intimate, actually. And also, like, I mean, the process, you know, of like women, you know, like the hours it takes, like you get so connected to that woman. You know, it was beautiful. And so that was the first time I did it in Ghana, actually.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. You've really traveled.
I guess so.
So where else? So you've been to Ghana, you've been to South Africa. Where else in Africa have you been?
Mauritius, Mozambique, Ghana. I was meant to go to Nigeria, but I didn't make it over that year. And then because one of my best friends.
That's why you're so wise.
Because the travel.
Yeah, obviously, and because of who you are, but traveling definitely would help.
I guess.
Because like, I feel like when you travel, you like unlock parts of yourself.
That's definitely what it was. Like
100%.
The woman I was before, like just living in Sydney, and when I went, you know, to South Africa, like she's dead and gone. Like she does not exist anymore in the best ways possible. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so I fucking love it. And yeah, maybe because of the way I think too, and putting it all together, it's just beautiful, beautiful stuff.
All right.
Yeah, and yeah, I love it. And I think also maybe in terms of me finding that little identity and like sidestepping Indianness for a while.
Yeah.
Especially also because like, I don't know, like not a lot of Indians have like big curly hair either. It's like even in South India to have as big curly hair and like the features I have is quite rare.
Yeah.
And I think I felt a little bit of like disconnect for a while because like I was like, what's like, you know, and then when I really kind of was traveling through and meandering the world and cultures and music, things that I started to connect with was I kept going towards like Africa. I'm like, oh my God, so much of their hair or like their, you know, it was at first things like that which made me feel welcomed and like I belonged. Yeah. And like I was like a little bit like same and everyone that like sees me when I was living in Cape Town, they were like, oh, like Ethiopia, Eritrea, like, you know what I mean? I was gonna
say like that Eastern African vibe. That's what I thought you were originally.
Yeah, everyone thinks that. They don't think Indian at first, which is interesting because
that's wild.
Yeah, and so then as well, because even like a little bit in Sydney, and when I went there, like it just kept gravitating towards it. Like it pulled me almost in a very ancestral way. It pulled me.
Wow.
So
the land was calling you back.
Yeah, it was so interesting.
That's so intense.
Yeah.
I love that story though. I love that. I think traveling's so important. I went to Thailand and like, cause I think like that tropical like nature is there too, where like I don't know if Ghana and they're lined up, but I reckon they're similar.
With the heat and the
beaches. The heat, and I remember I was just like, I felt at my like peak, like I was on an island, and I'm just like, this is amazing, like, and that's the life. Like I've always said, I want to live in Jamaica or live on an island and just
That's
eat fish and fruit. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna fucking check out of this capitalist society soon. Like you know, like
as soon as I had the funds, I'm out to have fun. You know what I mean? I'm literally 100%, because it's not not conducive to being the concrete jungle. Hell no. I come here for like work. I've always said I come here for like business. Then if I gotta go record whatever, but then like I'm back to recharge. Do you know what I mean? Like I think that's important.
The recharge.
You have to have those like moments and those places where you can go and just like decompress.
Literally, I love that word. Literally decompress, because these other places fucking compress you.
Heavy,
so intense.
And it's just like, because a lot of the time, like our anxiety and all this stuff, it's because of like this little bubble that we're in as well. It adds to it, you know. Everyone's rushing around, everyone's moving so quick. Everyone's like, because like energy's contagious as well. So then like just naturally you're mirroring people. You had a mirror cells.
Yes.
Yeah, so you like
even go on.
No, keep going. Yeah.
No, but mirroring, like even subtly in terms of like, you know, if you're at a party and start noticing this every time you take a sip, whoever you're facing will take a sip too, and that's how drinking culture works a little bit too. Sip for sip, sip for sip.
That's crazy.
It's psychology.
So is that mirror cells?
Yeah. Like,
is that yawning too?
Yeah.
I'll be yawning. I'll be like, what's this? And they're like, what? I'll yawn, and then everyone.
And sometimes even saying the word yawn can like, you know, I'm like, do I feel a yawn right now? Like,
my mom was like, oh fuck, I feel like yawning.
Yeah.
And then yawning even sounds like, you know, when you yawn, like it sounds like yawn. You know what I mean?
It does.
This is where my mind goes. I'm a tripper.
It does,
this is where my mind goes with all these things.
It does. Yeah. We didn't speak about acid in terms of, but because I don't know if that's being used in any kind of thing, but
I've heard like a lot of people
ever done
have
acid?
had. No, I've never done it, because I was a very like everything from nature type. Do you know what I mean? That's like my whole thing. But I don't knock it. Do you know what I mean? But I'm just like, I don't know, bro. Anything that's synthetic, I always get like a bit like
nervous about it.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Especially for like, I don't know, like melanated people, I feel like a lot of things from the earth would be
better for us, better process for us. All 100%.
Like I think it's for some people, but then it's just like Have you done it before?
I have.
How was it?
Each time, my first trip was like 20 hours long, and by like the 12th hour I was like off button, like, you know, it was intense, and not because of my intensity, because the person I was tripping with like completely dissolved into like nothingness, into the ethers, and it was like, you know, and also like acids are very like, it's kind of like amped up mushrooms. Like, because mushrooms you do kind of feel, but it almost feels like waves. It feels like you're stepping into warm water. It doesn't feel like, you know, but with acid you feel the surge, you know.
That's too much for me.
And I have heard as well that it really is one you need to set intentions to, because otherwise, you know, your fucking demons start coming out to play and
messing with you.
Crazy things can start happening,
and you'll be around the right people. That's another thing with all this stuff. Right, I've had trips around like not the wrong, but just the wrong people. For that
exactly. Thing, and you
gotta make sure you're around like if there's anything like that might like just rub you the wrong way about someone, or just anything that's just like little, just don't trip with them. I'm just serious. I'm just being honest, because it's just like everything comes to the surface, and then any little thing will just be magnified.
That's so
because that's what it does. It magnifies everything, and that can be like helpful and hurtful, and it's just like it's a lot. It's important to just environment plays a huge part. Like mushrooms, nature is the best.
Nature.
I always have to do it in nature, because then whenever I'm like freaking out or something's too intense, I can just ground. Instantly. And then you just feel like Mother Gaia, Pachamama, whatever you want to call it, just like holding you, and you're like, thank God.
Yeah. All of my substance experiences have been in nature, actually. Like all my introduction to anything that I've ever tried has always been in nature.
Love that.
Yeah, just like even for instance, like MDMA, the very first time I had like a thing was like on the Cape Town beach kind of thing, do you know?
Oh wow.
Crazy. And like the way I felt love that day was just crazy, but like did
you plan on doing them all in nature, or just happened?
It just kind of happened.
I love that.
I mean, because I'm a very like nature drawn person anyway, and so it kind of, and I never did them as party things. It was only after coming back to Sydney that I'm like, oh, people do this as a party thing. Like, for me, it was like, oh, like with me and like a friend, let's go to the beach and like connect and do it or something as like I'm very curious and I'm very like, you know, try everything once kind of thing, or like,
Of
you know, not
course.
everything, but like,
no, I know what you're saying.
yeah, so I'm like very curious in that sense. And so it is, happened to be always in nature. First acid trip as well on a beach, and like, and that was the visuals I saw on that. Like my hands were translucent, like flower buds were blooming all the way to blossom and then going all the way back to bud, and then like, and phoenix in the sky made us like, it was fucking
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was
I think it's
fun.
important to dabble into psychedelics, to be honest. I think like it's so like it's just because then like when you come back, you can like you're looking at a tree different. You can't look at that tree the
You're
same.
like, oh, because when you're in it, you're like, you are me. I loved you.
It's so true.
Yeah. I love you and I love everything.
Yeah.
And why am I so fucking complicated? And
Yeah.
everything's fine, guys. Everything's fine.
It's the biggest circus. I know.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
It's so good.
Yeah, no, but it's all good. And Bob Marley has saved a lot of my trips. Like I'll be listening to, because music plays a part as well. Yeah,
huge.
just bring you back. You know, like it's
And it can facilitate a trip and like send you in the right way, bring you back, ground you again.
Give you a message that you need to hear. Do you know what I mean? Like we're talking about synchronicities before, and like synchronicities through music.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that stuff is the best as well.
Yeah.
When you feel like the song's talking to you.
Yeah.
Like, that shit hits my soul. Like, oh yes.
Yeah. I like properly, I guess, myself started smoking when I went to Cape Town, because like within the 3rd month of me getting there, it got legalized for you to grow and cultivate in your own home.
Oh wow.
Which of course changed my whole view on what this thing is, because I come from Sydney where like you go to a party and like, I mean, maybe not if you with like your fellow like homies, but you go to a party and you're like, you know, spliff, joint or something. Everyone's like, whoa, weed, but you want a line? And I'm like, what the fuck? You would rather do a line rather than fucking smoke one with me? Like, that's more normal, but then that like...
Yeah. The culture's different. Culture plays a huge part in all that. It trickles down to every...
Yeah, and so within the 3rd month of me moving there, it got legalized.
Wow.
And like me and my housemate were like just trying to grow a little, you know, like I think he started and like, you know, tried to like help or whatever. But yeah, a whole different mentality of viewing it and doing it.
Because you're growing it. Because like that's a whole other... It's like how food, if you start growing your own food, you have like this... more like respect for the food, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can imagine if you're growing your own bud, it'd be like, you know, you've seen it start from the beginning, and then you probably wouldn't like abuse it as well, because you're like, look how long this took, you know what I mean? You got a lot to put in it. You know what I mean?
And you go from start to finish in that whole process, and so
the process, eh?
and like you say, I remember like those first few like proper like joints from this own, you know, my own spot, first time living out of home as well, because like I didn't move out till I just like booked that one-way ticket and left.
Oh wow.
Like
so first time moving out was in a different country. You're wild, bro. This girl.
But like I feel like that was probably the only way it had to happen for me. Like I reckon now that I look back on my experiences, I definitely am like life is like throws in the deep end, like 0 to 100. Like I don't know how much. I mean, you Aquarius, you're talking about it. I've just learned about like the whole sun, moon, and all this stuff, and something in my charts apparently has said or says, and this now as I reflect on my life, I'm like, this is so me.
On point,
It's like when I go for lessons, like I fucking deep
go
dive,
in,
I fucking deep dive, you know, and I was like,
wow.
that's
was that
me.
some like Aries energy or something?
I have to remember
something
because
fiery.
there's so many like
there's a lot, don't get me wrong. Like I've done my chart, I've done like readings and stuff, and I'm still trying to remember everything to this day.
I cannot for the life of me. Like I'm a Virgo, like that's my birthday like
your sun sign, that's your sun sign.
Like my 28th of August, like I fall into that little Virgo thing, but
then you got your moon, which is your emotions, your rising
and all of that, and then the nodes and the south node and the north node.
See, that's when I get lost, bro. The nodes and then the houses. I'm like, oh my god! Like I was just understanding the sun, the moon, the rising. Fucking now you want me to go into like it's just tough, bro. But that's for the experts. But I like to know. I know a little about a lot. That's it. Like I don't like. I like to like learn a bit, but stuff like that is a lot. But I did the reading, and she sends you the video so you keep it forever.
Cool.
So like, if you want her
Sick.
information, it's like a Zoom thing. Shout out to Charlie, she's awesome. Someone referred Jason,
I
came on the podcast.
think my friend was actually saying something about that the other day. Like
Yeah.
she had someone on Zoom and she let her record. I wonder if it's the same person.
Maybe.
That'd
That'd
be
be trippy as fuck.
That'd be a crazy synchronicity.
That'd
actually.
be amazing. Yeah, and it's cool because I do go. She even said, she's like, you're gonna come back to these, and like every like some moments in life, and then you pull something different from it. You know, when you like read a book again,
totally.
or you like watch a movie again, and you
Right.
you got a different lens, so then you see it for something else. It's the same thing with that. Like when I look at my chart and she's saying something, I'm like, oh my god. Fuck.
Yeah, and you see.
I
like
just realized, it
yeah.
just clicked in.
So true.
It's wild how how it works.
True. Yeah. No, very, very, very formative little year in Cape Town because first time moving out, and I think that may have been like the traditionalist of like my mom and me being like a young like unmarried Indian like young girl like you know a lot of that like had to like kind of bust the
break
open
those.
and like you know so
out.
a lot of interesting things and like learned so much about myself there.
Mm.
Literally called that phase of my life like the blossoming because that's what it felt like me.
I
like
love
I
that.
was just
Yeah.
you know and yeah.
I love that. So if that was like a chapter in your book, it'd be like, that would be the chapter name.
Because I
The
journal
Blossoming.
a lot, right?
Yeah,
and
I
so
can tell. You wrote a book, ladies and
literally,
gentlemen.
it was like a little
What else
journal
do you-
entry.
Yeah, what do you have
We've
here?
really,
have we
like,
covered everything?
We've naturally flowed through so much of
I
it,
love
though.
it. I
Yeah,
love
which
it.
is cool because it's like you know,
Yeah.
we didn't touch on dreams.
Oh, you want to get into dreams?
Yeah.
Because that's how we start. That's how we
That's-
connected. Yeah. So what? Man, dreams are so intense, bruh.
Oh my
Like they're
gosh.
just like for me now, they're so fucking vivid and like
Same at the
and
moment.
like real, and I'm just like, bruh, it's exhausting to be honest. I'm not gonna lie.
But do they apply always to things that you're going through at the time?
Sometimes.
Like
Sometimes they're really random as fuck. Sometimes it's like some galactic shit. And I'm like, what was that? You know what I mean? I'm watching way too many Marvel movies. And then sometimes it's some shit that like, it connects to like life, what's going on like within like family or whatever, or like where I'm at. And I'm just like, I'm like, is that a sign?
Yeah.
And I'm like, because like, I do like to look into dreams, but then I don't want to, I feel like for me, it's like I want to keep the same energy. So like if I look into one dream, then that means I got to look into another dream, which I felt like was so irrelevant and crazy.
And you're like, why am I
I'm like,
dissecting this?
Exactly. And if I dissect that, I'm like, oh, you're connected to that shit. You know what I mean? So it's just like I pick and choose my
you're
dreams.
like that guy with the ball with all the red lines.
Yeah,
Like,
So true. So like I pick and choose like which dreams I really want to dive into.
right.
Because sometimes I think it's just like, because they say dreams are like your subconscious, right?
What,
So they
is
say,
it?
I don't
Is
know.
it? I've been questioning that because I'm like, is it your subconscious or is it like bits of data being dropped into your consciousness?
I love that one. Yeah.
Or is it, and because of recent vivid dreams I've had about, say, people that I haven't talked to in a very long time, but the way it feels like is like an intersecting of both of our consciousness. Because I'm like, I don't think like that.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that. I don't say that. But it was so vivid, like you entered my mind for that dream.
Wow.
And it trips me the fuck out.
Yeah.
So, and also with this stream, that was definitely just data dropped into me. Like that I'd never fucking seen. And so I've had the ones where I'm like, oh no, that's my subconscious playing on it.
Yeah.
And then I've had the ones where it's data dropped in.
Yeah.
And then I've had some real strange ones where I'm like, I feel like you walked into my dream.
Yeah.
You were, and like,
Dream walking.
I kind of lucid dream a bit.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it was lucid dreaming because I used it as a technique when I was younger to fall asleep. Like just to like play like scenarios in my like head to like, you know.
Yeah, no, I do that too. I would do that shit
Yeah.
too. I try to think like my future and
You
shit.
know, and,
Yeah.
like, and then it's like you're controlling the dream, you know, and like that was a thing. And I remember I was doing that one night when this other person came into it, and I was like, but I'm controlling it, and what are you doing here? Because I'm
Yeah.
very aware of what I was about to do next and what I wanted to happen and what I was about to,
Wow.
and it was such a trip out
Yeah.
because I had to like, I stopped in my tracks in the dream and like then left it being like, are you here? Like I
Yeah.
actually called out to like, it was so
Yeah.
trippy.
Fuck, I've had ones like that. I've had ones where like it's like I'm time traveling. So I'd be like in high school. And I remember I was in high school and I was going, I'm from the future. I'm going crazy. Like,
Oh my
I'm walking around the
gosh.
cafeteria going, no, I swear, I'm dreaming right now. And like, I'm here
Yeah.
from the future. I'm sleeping. And then people was like, what the fuck's wrong with this kid? You know what I mean?
Wow.
And I'm like, was I me? Or was I like another person? And
because
I'm just
you
like,
didn't, yeah.
because I couldn't see
couldn't
myself.
see-
So I'm just like, am I just some like crazy little year 7 that's running around going, I'm in a dream? Like,
people
that's that special kid.
How are you being viewed?
So it trips me out.
Wow.
So I have ones that like that where it's just like, yeah, like I feel like I'm time traveling or something, or I'm in like a different timeline.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Cool.
dreams really trip me out. I love them though. Don't get me wrong. I love like just like about to fall asleep. Like, okay, where are we going tonight?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is gonna happen? Like, I love that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't know. They really, I honestly, for a long time, I did believe that this life is a dream. Like I always, I still kind of believe that. Not like, I feel like it's just like, what if this is a dream and then like you die, you wake up, you know what I mean?
Did that affect the way you lived life?
Ooh, great question. I think so. I think it made me a little more fearless.
Yeah, that's sick.
Do you know what I mean?
That's fucking
because I'm
sick.
just like, if this is a dream, let me just dream lucid.
Yeah.
And let me just do this shit lucid. Do you know what I mean?
You know, and that's another, like, that's true though, because like the other thing that I've heard in terms of like spiritual talk, and maybe it's even Hinduism, is that we're little avatars. You know, we're little avatars playing the game, and so we get to choose to do this and get to choose to do this, and we can change our career and job and whatever and our hair, and we're just little avatars.
It's a fact. The avatar, that's legit though.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I think that's on point. Yeah.
So maybe it is a dream then, because I mean, and then I guess it depends on like then where do you go like after, like is it reincarnated? Is it this or is it another dream? Is it another realm? Do you bounce and hop? Do you?
It definitely doesn't end. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
And even when I was a kid, I knew that. I remember I used to lie down like when I was like young, like 8, and I'd just be like trying to sleep, and I'd be trying to think about death. I'm a fucking 7-year-old, 8-year-old thinking about like what happens when I die.
Yeah.
And I remember I just kept thinking like, well, nothing would exist, so I wouldn't be thinking, and I'd just be going through this all in my mind as like an 8-year-old.
Oh my god, crazy!
And I'm like, dude, what are you? Now I look back, I'm like, dude, what were you doing? But it's just like I couldn't even fathom the idea of like non-existence.
Yeah.
So it's just like, surely
it doesn't exist in Hinduism. In a lot of spiritual concepts, it doesn't exist. There is no such thing, because when you die, you rejoin source. You rejoin God consciousness, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. Like
Facts.
or you reincarnate or like something. It doesn't actually exist in that way. And that's the other thing, right? Because I have a friend who's experienced a lot of death in her life, right? And she sometimes talks about the dreams she has, the vivid ones, and also I think it's in Mayan and, am I saying this right, Navajo culture? Like, I don't want to call them American Indians, but you know, but in that culture where they say that your loved ones can visit you in your dreams as well. So then again, there's that other concept of against like the drop-ins.
Yeah.
So this whole dream state is such a trip, like it's so interesting, but it's such a trip out. But I believe that too, though, because I feel like, I don't know, if you've had anyone, close to you pass away and stuff, but in a certain warm breeze, in a butterfly that floats by, like sometimes you feel them.
Feel that energy, yeah.
You feel them. They're not gone, like they're gone, but they're not. But
yeah.
they're there, and
they're like gone in like that, the form of like the human being.
Yeah.
But like, they're like just speaking or like through like signs, symbols, or just like through I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
It's so true. And it's like all ancient cultures, like you said, they all used to like when the wind blows a certain way, or when like the rain like, do you know what I mean? That was like some ancestor speaking or some, like, because I was so in tune with that. And like we've definitely lost, like, not we've, but like a lot of us have like lost that because we didn't have that culture being passed down.
For sure.
You know how you're saying a lot of tradition in India?
Yeah.
Like there's tradition, like, about like tradition that can be like really fun, but then there's that tradition of like customs that's really powerful.
Yeah.
And like profound that I think are heavily needed. Do you know what I mean?
For sure. For sure.
The dreams get me, bro. I'm telling you. Because even me now, I'm just like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
So many places that like,
Yeah.
I go. I go.
Yeah, and you have like real vivid ones. Yeah, and the
Very
thing is, I
vivid.
thought always remember mine, but lately I've been really having vivid ones.
They're
and
so
like,
real.
And sometimes you have phases where you have really vivid dreams and then you don't, and
yeah.
But then it's also interesting because they say like smoking can affect your dreams.
No. It used to back in the day for me, I think, but not anymore.
Yeah, okay.
Hell no.
Interesting.
No, I dream like a motherfucker. I swear. I'm just like, nah. It's funny because sometimes I'm like, I just want to conk out.
Yeah.
I just want to like
You're like, just let me turn the TV
yeah,
off.
like just literally. I was like black out and then just wake up. And I just like feel like I've actually rested. Because sometimes when you have those vivid dreams or you're dreaming lucid, it's like
active.
It's active. Did I sleep? Did I actually really get rest?
Yeah, right.
Because I wake up like not tired, but like whoa.
Yeah, like quite energized already. Like
yeah,
you know,
like
kind of.
Yeah. But totally. I heard like if you stay lying down, you remember your dreams more. So like don't get up straight away and go do anything. Just stay there and like sit with yourself. Like just stay, like wake up and then your dreams will like they'll stay. Do you know what I mean? And you can remember them more. And that makes now I think about that every time that I do like have a crazy dream and I have to go somewhere real quick. So I got the alarm just went off. I forget it. It goes.
And the more you try and like remember, it's like, what the fuck?
It just slips away. It's like the more you try and hold on to it, it's like, no.
Yeah, it's just gone. Yeah. Yeah. No, I've had those too where it's like been really vivid and you wake up and they go, but then other ones where it's vivid and it's just stuck. And like this was in 2015 when this dream, and I can still talk about it as if I dreamt it like last night kind of thing. So it's like it's
one of those profound like
like
those
definitely felt like a message dream, which and again I haven't had one like that since in that way, in that data drop message way. Like that was
to the point where you get a tattoo. That's definitely something. It's definitely something. But I've always thought with tattoos, like I remember like it was some like party and I was on something, but I remember like I was seeing like everything. I was seeing behind the veil. And then like all these boys were like showing like all these folks showing each other their tattoos and stuff, and I'm just there like tripping, and I'm like, but I was seeing it as like I don't know, maybe in reality they were like, oh look, I got this yesterday, I got this, but what I was seeing is like, I got this on this journey like through this like it was like a spiritual thing, but I don't think they like knew it in like through that lens, but I was seeing it. It's like seeing it
for sure.
They were like dream traveling and like spirit traveling, so that was the way. Because some people get tattoos like I don't know why I got it, I just got it. No. But it's because like their soul was doing something somewhere else and I had to put it on. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. To like remember it, even though they don't remember it, but they had to have that there.
And some kind of connection to it.
Exactly.
You reckon every tattoo is like that in some way?
I honestly think that.
Really? Like even the ones that are like fucking smiley face or something on like the ass.
There's something there. 100%.
Interesting. Well, I mean, all my tattoos are like completely from very intentional, meaningful things and whatever. But do you have any?
Nah, bro. No, I was thinking of getting Mayat. You know Mayat, the Egyptian goddess with the wings and balance on my back. Cool. I had that thought for a while, and then it came up in a dream.
Did it?
That's so trippy. Like it didn't come up like heavy, but it's because I thought it was because I was researching it a lot. Like just I was learning about her and just like seeing other like pictures. So I was like, maybe it's just because I was looking it up before going to bed. But yeah, it did pop up.
Interesting.
I'm just waiting for it to be like a compulsive thing where I'm like, no, I've got to go get it. Do you know what I mean? Because that's when I know. Because if I'm not like 100% in.
Okay. Yeah. And you mean because it's a tattoo. And
exactly.
Like, that shit don't go. Like.
That's the thing. And then after cutting off my dreads, like doing something like that, I'm like, my decisions now, I'm just like, nah.
Let me think about this.
You got to be really, it has to be like 100% like, nah. But tattoos are powerful. They are very powerful.
They are. I kind of feel like now that I've been getting more, it's like my whole body feels like a canvas. And for me, it's like I'm a very visual person.
Yeah.
And so when I think of a tattoo and like whatever, it's like this is how this is literally what happens to me. Like I'll have the picture of it.
Yeah.
And it comes into my mind, and then it pulls to a position in my body, and then it's just like it's done. It's decided. That's where it goes. And it's like, it just, my body tells me where it wants it. Like for this one too, like when I saw the word Shakti, it was like, shh, and I went there. I have this one on my arm.
Wow. Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
That one, and again, it was both, yeah.
That's the Hamza. Is that Hamza?
Yeah. Hamza. But this one I love because it's cross-cultural. It is in Turkey. It is in all like of Arabia. It is it's found in some parts of India. Like it's one of those symbols that kind of like pop, 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 like kind of popped up around the same time. And like it's not just from Islam. It's not just from it's like, you know. And, so love that element of it too.
Deep. Yeah. Even just saying Hamza. I have a friend. His name's Hamza. And I remember like I just kept going Hamza. He's like, bro, stop. I'm like, bro, your name. Just saying it is like nice.
It's therapeutic,
man. It's therapeutic, right? It's like, bro, you need to chill, bro. I'm like, no, but seriously, bro, it's a great name.
No, it is. That's true though, because like the words in it, eh?
Yeah, it carries a signature. Do you know what I mean? So like that, like what it is,
Yeah.
just saying it has that
That's so
effect
true.
as well, I feel, in a way.
Yeah, I agree with like names and sounds and stuff. Yeah.
'Cause everything's frequency, vibration, do you know what I mean? So like sounds are...
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever do like what is it? It's the throat singing, or like, because you know how he was saying you do the ohms and there's like om, lum, yum. There's quite a few.
Yeah, there's heaps.
Have you ever heard of these people that do throat singing?
I think so.
Oh my god, this shit's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Can you replicate or do it, or
I do it like as a joke, but like nah, I don't want to butcher it. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't want to do them disrespect the people that actually properly do it. But it is powerful. Like,
what culture is it from?
Good question. I'm not sure. But a lot of these people that do like, have you heard of like light language and all that stuff?
Light language?
Yeah. Dude, these people,
cool. Okay,
so these are like, I don't know if it's legit, bro, but like some people I've heard do the light language, and I'm like, no. I kind of get what you're saying. So it's basically just like, they say they're transmitting codes from like some galactic star system or whatever they want to say. And like, some, don't get me wrong, some I hear, I'm like, what was that? Do you know what I mean? But then some, I'm like, okay, no, that does kind of resonate. Like, I'm a bit hooked. Like, I mean, I'll be like watching it for a bit and listening. So they're just like, it's like a language that it's not a language. Like, there's no, like, you can't look it up. Like, this is... Right,
it's just literally come from like the ethers, cosmos, something like
somewhere,
not even like in a country.
Literally, they're tapping into it. They're kind of getting like a bit of a trance state, and then they just go like, and they just do some like little hand movements and stuff, like mudras, and they're just light language. That's what they call it. So it's like they used to call it like they're getting like downloads, like light codes, and then the light codes they're putting into like words. It's like
cool.
It's like it's cool. Don't get me wrong. Some are like, I'm like, well, that's wild, but some I do. I'm like, wow, no, that is something. Because like, what is language? It's just sounds. Language is just sounds.
Any word you say like 20,000 times, it's just gonna sound really weird. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. If you like don't know the language, it's just sounds.
That's
you know what I mean? Like if I'm hearing someone else, it's just like it just sounds like.
It's very true, and just like the way they say some, like languages are very guttural, or in like the top of like Spanish is all in like the front of the mouth, but then like other languages are at the back. And then
true.
The way you use your mouth to make the sounds of each language is different.
And then have you seen that thing where like your tongue, where it touches on the top of your roof of your mouth, it connects to different brain nodes?
Yes, and,
so
and
like,
even this and stuff, and all that footology from Chinese
reflexology,
medicine.
Back to what you were saying about the body and how you can use the body to like heal. It's
literally
crazy.
You can download codes from yourself, like
heal
about
yourself.
your life.
It's so true.
It's all sitting right here in these certain areas, and also it's like with that whole like staying in the body thing. Just going back to not jumping into the mind. Like, so when your mind starts to create the story about the emotion, you've gone out of your body. When you start to be like, and even subtle things like just, you're feeling an emotion, and it's like, okay, well, it's because this happened, or it's because I'm this, or it's because this happened in my life, or my dad, that's all the story. Jumping. You're jumping. When you're just like in the, that's body, and and to move emotion out, you gotta not jump. But your mind will always try and like pick you up, try and like, can I help you out of it? Like,
I think I do that a lot now that you're saying it. Yeah, like, because I'll try to trace it back, and then I'll get kind of lost in it. Do you know what I mean? And then, it's taking me out of my body and feeling it. I'm trying to understand it from a, like, analytical level. I'm like, why am I... Because now you saying that, it just made me realize.
Yeah. So that's you flipping back into, like, intellectualizing it, kind of, intellectualizing it, pretty much.
Yeah, instead of feeling it. Feeling through it.
Yeah, and you can still, like, so there's a little technique that I'm trying to teach people where it's like, you still ask the why. Yeah. But instead of the why in the details, right, of the story, it's like the undertone of the why. And there's two voices that'll answer to you almost. There is like the thinking voice that'll answer, like, why? Well, because the motherfucker did that. Or because that happened to me. Because my mom treated me like this. Like, whatever it is that it's saying, you'll feel that. But then if it's like, all right, but why? Like, why am I feeling this? Why do I think this? There's a different voice from below, I think, that like is much quieter, that will say, because I'm not good enough, or like, because I think... and it's a much quieter one, but that's where that emotion and pain and stuff is sitting, and that's that real self-study, soul pain work that,
Fuck, so that's deep.
listening to which voice is answering, and getting to know both those voices.
That's deep. Yeah, getting to know them. I see what you're saying, because then like you can start differentiating. Which one you have more of a discernment, like to know. Yeah,
exactly.
I like that. Is that one of the exercises you give to people? Yeah.
That's part of the little, like, my little entrepreneur business thing, like the exercises I want to give to people to get in touch with the body, get in touch with that like self-study side of themselves.
Yeah.
Listening.
Love that.
And that's like because the whole like thing is based off like, so this says Rani in my language, which means queen. For me, that was one of the embodied, I guess, energies that kind of helps me, right? It's like that self-sovereignty.
Yeah.
If I'm moving through life, how do I want to be moving through life? Like a queen. Not the queen of you or this, but the queen of myself, right? And getting to know that queen voice, because that's my higher self. You know, someone will call it higher self. Other one will call it the adult self, you know, child and adult, ego and higher self. Like, it's all the same language, just
different terms, Yeah,
and for me, it happened to connect to that queen kind of visual, and I was like, cool, like, what would the queen do and say, and how would she govern herself? How would she have that self-sovereignty? How would she, and kind of move through it like that? But have you heard of that other thing about souls? Like, I guess maybe it kind of relates to the dreams, but about the fact that every experience, like all the pain, all the good, bad, ugly, your soul before it dropped into this life was like, I choose that.
Oh yeah, I've heard this.
That is the one that gives me like literal chills, because I'm like, no, but this is so.
But why would I choose that shit?
Wait, exactly. Why the fuck would I choose that?
I know exactly what you're saying, and it's like you choose your parents, you choose you choose your family, your cousins, your mom. It's like, what?
But I hate that motherfucker. Like, what do you mean I chose that?
It's so intense, but it's empowering too.
You reckon?
Yeah, because it's just like, I don't know, it kind of gives you that, because like you knew that all these things would mold you to be who you are, do you know what I mean? Or shape you to like who you're meant to be, or where you're meant to go, what you're meant to learn, even though it's savage as fuck. You're like,
so
bro, why would I pick like a peaceful little bro?
Do you know, like, why would I choose this? Because I really am not liking this right now, kind of thing. So that really sends me, like, you know?
I've heard that quite a bit, and I'm just like, I try to ignore. I'm like, hell no, please no. But like, it makes sense though, kind of does.
How so? How do you like, you know, like it makes sense, yes, but then like. It doesn't at the same time. Like, it does, but it doesn't. Because it's like, okay, I wanted to learn that lesson.
But I didn't want to learn it like that.
You know, but why did it need... Like, why did I choose that it had to be like this in this way? With like, it's very... It's like, it's really complex when you get down to it. And I'm like...
True. No, I know what you're saying. No, I feel you. It's a mind fuck. But I feel you. No, I know what you're saying.
I don't know about
you
that
got me
one.
there. That one, No, for sure.
Because, like, you know, like the very specific way that we are learning these lessons, and the way that we're learning this pain and all this that we're going through. And then when you see people who have had a lot of pain in their life, you know, that as well. And, you know, because I would say, like, I think everyone's had quite a lot of pain in their life. Like, as when you get to a certain age,
pain,
you know, everyone's been through some heavy shit, but... Yeah, literally sometimes I look at, like, you know, certain family members or certain things that I'm dealing with, and I'm like, yo, like slow down, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a barrage of stuff, and you're like, how many fucking lessons and how many things, and but I chose all of this. And then maybe is the questioning resistance to the lesson. So then I think about that, where I'm like, well, are these becoming so painful because I'm resisting it? Instead of like flowing into the fucking soul lesson as well.
Ooh.
Which is what my soul wanted.
That's I think you answered it right there. Literally.
Maybe, or, you know, like, it's...
Because resistance is huge. When you, like, going back to the whole ayahuasca and stuff, when I was resisting, that's when it was the most painful.
Oh my God, interesting.
Because the whole, like, ego dissolves, everything. But it's like, if you hold on, you just, like... You suffer. You're putting yourself into your own suffering.
And when you say hold on, like to
like you
within the experience, hold on, like
I feel like more like hold on to like your ego. Do you know what I mean? Like hold on to like what you know or what you think you know. Do you know what I mean? It was just more of like just letting go of that, and then once you kind of let go, it was like, oh my God, like it wasn't as. Don't get me wrong, it's still pain, but it wasn't. it was more freeing, you know what I mean? Like flowing with it, like you said. It's like allowing it to happen. That came up a lot as well. Just allow it, allow it, allow it, allow it, allow it. Do you know what I mean? Stop like fighting and resisting. Like trust and allow.
The trust
and surrender.
thing.
Do you know what I mean? That was like there was some huge ones for me. Trust, allow, surrender. And I was like, okay, that's big.
I got a question for you. I've been asking, like, because of this transition phase I'm in.
Yeah.
Not even gonna lie, it's just like some periods of this last couple of weeks been a shit show.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute shit show,
Yeah.
and I've been asking my like close friends and girlfriends this and whatever, and kind of being like, all right, how do you cultivate trust and faith? Because it's different for everyone. I've got a girlfriend who's completely into her Islam faith, and she's like, put it all in the hands of God, babe. And I'm like, okay. And then I got another friend, but like, for you, trust and faith, how do you actually embody and cultivate that?
Oh, that's such a good question. Man, you should be asking these questions, not me. Good Lord, that is a great question. I feel like it helps like the older I get, because I look back and I'm like, everything kind of works out in some way, shape or form. So like, just from like the resume, I can have that trust. That's what always kind of reinforces it. But I do have that like whole optimistic, like how you said your friend said, trust in God. I do have that. I trust in like a higher power for sure. I'm like, there's something that's making sure that it might not go how I want it, but
it's got my back.
It's got my back. Even though it might not seem like it does. I just can't see that far. And I'm not supposed to see that far. So that's kind of it. But the resume definitely helps. Of like, it's been fucked. Good. But like, look, it always does end up like, you can have trust because there's evidence there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I do need a bit of evidence sometimes.
Sure.
But then I do have that as well. Like, I do truly believe there's just like source, the all, energy, whatever, universe, and energy, something. just fun guiding there. Yeah, just like, and it's got you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's nice.
And I think it does help to believe that as well. Because, but that's a great question, man. That's an amazing question.
Interesting. Yeah, no, thank you for answering. Yeah.
That's the best I carve in the moment. I'm going to ponder on that, though.
Yeah.
I will definitely ponder on that. When I watch this back, I'm definitely going to think about that. Because that's a really great question.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to say, like, just trust.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
Trust what, bro? Yeah. Trust who?
Well, how?
Yeah.
And like, for me, it's the how. Because I'm like, I get the what. I'm like, I get that you trust this, but what does that mean for the day-to-day fucking practice? When you're in that real shit show moment of your life, how are you embodying that trust in the God, in the energy? Like, what does that look like? What does that actually feel like? Like, give it to me in the body. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm very...
because I see where you're going with it.
Yeah, because I want to feel that shit. Like, I get it up here. I logically understand it, but then sometimes in some moments I'm like, is this really the what?
So I see where you're going with that. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's wild. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, you can, if you look at it from that, like, your body is always trying to heal you. Your body's always trying to, like, your body always has your back. You might put poisons and shit in your body.
That's so true. And it'll like literally
it will do its best to try get rid of it, or just try. You can feed it the worst food, and it'll still try to pull like whatever type of nutrients from the packet of chips.
It's so good.
Do you know what I mean? So it's just like, you can have trust. Like, the body is showing you that you can. There's there's something there that's
very true.
That just came up when you said that. Because if I'm thinking that would, because the body does have your back.
It does. It really does.
Always.
And it's always trying to talk to you. You know?
Exactly.
It has your back and it's trying to talk to you.
Yeah.
So in that same way, that's the whole trust and faith thing. It has your back and it's trying to talk to you. You know? Maybe that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're breaking it down. Bro. We're going in. This is great.
I told you, I fucking deep.
I know. I knew it. I said before, I'm going to learn a lot today.
Yeah.
This is amazing. We've done really well.
Yeah.
We've done 2 hours.
Fun. Wow.
Wow. Look at that.
That's
nearly a record. I think that's nearly a record.
It's
great.
Really fun.
Let's wait. Is there anything else though? Like, do you have anything coming? Do you have anything coming up? Any like you said workshops and stuff? Is there anything like on its way or in the works or?
Yeah. So I'm at a point where I really understand, I guess, how to level, or how do I say it? Like, with this whole like feminine and masculine energy, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm still at a point where like I talked a lot about like our black and brown men with like the anger and things that are passed down, and in the ways that, you know, our fathers taught our sons, and then our sons treated our sisters, and then their women, and it's a very
passed down,
it's still very divided. And so part of my workshops, I'm like, I get how I want to address women. I'm still figuring out how the fuck I want to get through to the men. Yeah. Because also there's a lot more, you know, and I don't even know if I'm gonna be, am I the right person for that? So I do have a workshop in the mix, and it's gonna include a bit of dance, and just playful dance, right? Not in like this teaching way, the way that like these amazing professional teachers will do
like
it,
step by step and all that,
you know, but just in this get into your body and let's play. Because the other thing, like with the spiritual fusion of like the mind and body and whatever, is like the chakras, right? So like what I've really been like sensing in terms of like when you're trying to balance this like feminine, at least, and it probably still applies to like, you know, males and all of that, is like the root and sacral chakras, right? It's all about safety and creativity. And if I'm wanting to get people to play, they gotta creative play. What is play other than to be creative and do a whole bunch of fun things, but then also safety. And so like I mean, I'm working.
Like how you did that with the chakras.
So I'm working with the chakras a little bit to try and, you know, to try and tap into this playful but creative little fucking soul space zone. But the more but the more I do it, the more, I mean, I obviously do it in a way, like for instance, this is something we don't have as much, I think, in Indian dance. Like South Indian dance is very like, you've seen like
I've seen
it's
like
it's very
and stuff,
it's very rigid though, I find. And so even like I've never connected to it in the way that I fucking love, like you know, like whining and all that kind of like
fluid motions.
Right, like I'm, you know, all the curves and the shapes that is in like more African dance. And then when I research, you know, like when I try to fuse my culture with what I love dancing, whining, right? You're moving that pelvis, and what is that? That's your root and sacral chakras. Boom, boom, boom. You are creating an energy. You are building.
Wow.
And so I want to go deep into that and use that, but then I'm like, I can't be there with like a whole bunch of guys being like, all right, now why? You know, because they're going to be like, well, I don't want to fucking do that. Come on, why not? It'll be fun. It'll be good for you. Like...
for your chakras, come on.
Literally. So
I see what you're saying.
You know,
So maybe start with a woman, like you know how they do like men's circles. I got a mate, shout out to Marco, who does a lot of men's circles and stuff.
Cool.
And then like I've noticed they're doing a lot of like the women. What is it called? They have a name for. I don't want to say it was women's circles, but like
they do
similar.
call it women's circles.
They call it women's circles.
I've heard of that kind of.
So like, would yours be like for now, just like focus on the feminine, until you or not?
I think that once I start properly DJing, that's gonna be that fucking get litty with the spiritual conversations.
I love it.
Like that's the kind of DJ I want to be when I start playing, right? The whole reason I'm so connected to music and dance is because it helps me self-regulate. It helps me get in touch with the shit that I need to work out. So if I'm going to be DJing, it's like, I want to make you guys move your feet and dance, but I want to heal you through it, you know? Like, quite honestly. So maybe like that will be where like the males kind of come into it. But when it comes into this kind of individual, like when I'm working with people, I have like clients in my exercise that are guys and do a bit of that work with, but this real mirror work that I'm wanting to do, this whining with this chakras, the self-study, maybe because I'm a woman and I've been doing it on myself, I feel a little better at doing it for females. So
because you know how it works.
Exactly. So I think I think it'll be females first in terms of those kind of workshops and stuff, but definitely like, don't want to leave the kings behind.
No, of course, but you can always do like a conjoined like events. I mean, if you like know like a male like healer, do you know what I mean? You bring both communities together. My mate Marco, he did that. He went to the Daintree Forest, and it was like a men's circle, but it was like this lady that facilitates like the women's circles up there, like a rewilding or something. So they kind of did like a joint thing, even though it was a men's circle, but I think like she was helping facilitate. But collaboration's key as well.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
That's so true.
Like we
That's
can't
a really
we
good
can't
point.
do this all by ourselves.
No, that's
you know what I mean?
so true.
I tried to, like, I was in that mentality a long time ago, and then you realize you just burn yourself out.
Yeah.
Like, and people want to help. You know what I mean? There's actually people
Yeah.
out there that want to help you. Do you know what I mean?
That's
They
so
want to
true.
contribute. It's just about you like allowing once again and trusting that, like, because it's like
Maybe
like,
it's a Virgo in me. I'm like, has to, you know, like, you know?
True.
I do have, like, I'm learning to let go of my perfectionism.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing how that feeds right into my anxieties, you know?
Oh,
and then my relationships and how and I'm, like, needing to get things right and be deep and, like, oh, you know, fucking relax.
Yeah.
Sometimes, so for sure, like, it'll all be a teaching back to me, I think, as I go into this and create this and all of that. But yeah, so I've like got a program and stuff down in terms of for
ready
females.
to go.
Yeah,
Wow.
just trying to find like the space that feels right for it, you know, because
would you want to do it indoors or outdoors?
I feel like I'd want a bit of both because I want mirrors.
Oh wow.
There needs to be mirrors.
Oh, let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
Because I heard people do mirror gazing and stuff.
Mirror work.
So have you been? Yeah. Well, have you done that before? Or?
Yeah, that's how I first found this queen in me. That was the when I heard that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Well, because it's like when you really look into yourself and slow down, and not just in like a aesthetics kind of way, you know, like when you stop and you kind of you look behind your eyes almost. You know, when you really look into your eyes and then you start talking to yourself. And I think that's when those two voices really start popping up. And like in this, so like in Rain Theory, which is like kind of like the workshop or business name and whatever that I'm doing, that's this idea of like when you're getting to know these people that are existing in you, you know, this one that's probably in this 3D world and then the one that's underneath all of that. Mirror work is invaluable.
Wow.
Yeah, because even in training, just for exercise, I will never train a client, even if it's just for body without a mirror. I'm like, no, I want you to see, because that mind to body connection, every time that you even think of a muscle, it activates a little bit. So if you're training fucking, you know, back, traps, lats, whatever, even just think of it. Look at it in the mirror. Make sure, you know, that's a mind to body connection. That's a neural pathway. You know, and it all feeds back into it. So I need mirrors because I want you to mind to soul connect.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and really look into yourself, and then it's like you almost, you know, you'll say a certain, like, you know, bunch of phrases, and you'll see who speaks back. When I first started doing this in front of the mirror, it was a very quiet, meek kind of voice that was like, you know, hi, you know, and even things like, you know, want you to go home and try looking right into the mirror, like deep into your eyes, and be like, I love you. The first time I did that, I was like, I love you.
Wow.
You know, I couldn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Couldn't really look like and hold it and be like, I fucking love you.
That's deep as fuck. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Because there was some other parts that weren't loved, that weren't accepted, that weren't integrated, whatever you want to call it, that were like not allowing that to happen yet.
Wow.
And that shit comes up in the same way that it comes up if you're not using your right trap the right way. When you look in the mirror, you can see that. If you're like lopsided, you're like, oh, I see it. Oh, I fix it.
Bring it up, yeah.
Same way, emotional, the soul, you know. Oh, I hear her. I hear him. Oh, he's not actually, you know.
Wow.
It all really comes up.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you stare? Like, do you just gaze? So you know how you're saying you look behind the eyes? So you're just gazing? Do you...
I do it with breath.
Oh,
do it with breath, and do it with the phrases and like the talk, the self-talk.
Okay.
So, you know, you do the self-talk, you do the breathing, and you witness what comes up. And then, you know, write it down if you want to record it or whatever it is. Like, witness who and what it is that comes up. Because it's like, I kind of like, the reason it's like queen, and then you got a whole these other personas, these inner personas. One might be the anxious, the angry, the whatever, the jester, the one that's always avoiding shit.
Yeah.
And they'll start talking to you, because what you want to happen in the mirror ultimately, once you start, you know, is the queen and the king to answer back, I love you. But then if that self-love or that development of that queen, you know, the higher self isn't there, the thing that's going to answer It might be your anxiety, might be your depression, might be your avoidance, might be your whatever you want to call it.
Wow.
And that's when you're like, oh my God, I see you. And maybe for the first time, oh fuck, I see you.
Wow.
All right, what else you got to say? Well, I don't really think you can do this. I think you're a piece of shit. I think you suck. And whoa, you think that about you? Whoa, okay, you fucking self-study that shit.
Wow. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because I've heard people do this like mirror, and I've always thought it's so intense. Because like I do like look at myself in the mirror, but like just like I just always thought like just staring for. Whenever I'm like catch myself staring for too long, I'm like, whoa, that was like I can't get caught in like a bit of a trance. What was that? Like how long have I been looking at myself? It's like what
but start talking to yourself as you stare.
Yeah.
Because then you know like what persona are you in? Are you in your king self or?
When you're saying that, like the persona, like the anxiety and stuff, that's another thing. I'm just like, bro, there's so many like energies that work through me. Like I know like I'm me, but then I'm just like, am I like? There's so many like nuances of self. Do you know what I mean? That just come through and.
Yes, but no at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Like yes, there's so many that come through, but ultimately you are the highest soul stardust presence, are you not?
Yeah.
And everything else is the fluff around, or not even fluff around, but it's just. The best quote I've ever read about ego, which really helped me with it, is imagine that your queen higher self, king higher self, is a puppeteer for the ego. It's not that the ego is evil and bad and you got to banish it.
Yeah.
It's that it shouldn't be the one in the fucking driver's seat being like, like doing the crazy like go-kart driving. You're like, bro, that's not what we're doing.
I see what you're saying.
I'm working through you. Your ego is our personality though. If we didn't have ego, you wouldn't be making music. I wouldn't be into dancing as much as it's the in a good way. You can use ego in a good way.
Facts. Yeah.
It's just who's in the driver's seat, and part of that mirror work is when you start talking to yourself, immediately whoever's in the driver's seat was the one that's going to answer, and then you're like, oh shit, it's you. I thought I was. And a lot of the time for me when I first started, it was this not believing in myself, quite anxious voice that was answering, and I was like, hold on though, who else is in the room? Is my queen voice in here? Like, is she here? You know what I mean? I had to build that, to build and build and build. Yeah.
That's dope. I'm gonna do that. I'll let you know how it goes.
Please do.
With the phrases, is it like, do you come pre-prepared with these phases when you're doing the mirror work, or is it like something in the moment, like you start staring, you start doing like the eye gazing, looking behind the eye, and then breathing, and then does the phrases start coming to you, or is it something?
Bit of both.
Yeah,
I think that the way I'd like to start people, and I reckon you should start, is do the mirror work, do the deep breathing, see if anything happens. If it doesn't, then start to say like these real like the highest self affirmations for yourself. Like try and tell yourself you love yourself. It seems like a really simple thing, but it's harder than it like. You know what I mean?
100%.
Because like you're like, of course I fucking love myself.
Yeah.
But when you're real like connected with your breath, and then you're connected with your eyes, and then you try and say I love yourself. Okay, what else comes up if anything? And then but for some people as well. What like the first little step, and try this before, is like you do a brain dump, right? Like just get a fucking piece of paper, and anything that you're thinking, you're worried about, you're stressed, like just do a brain dump. And even that is a little exercise to watch who's talking. Do you know? Because when you just brain dump, like you pick up the tone of voice of who's talking, and so it's about understanding who you're working with, kind of thing. Yeah.
I like how you said that, who's in the driver's seat at that moment.
Yeah.
Wow. That's dope. I will do that.
Yeah, please
That's
do.
deep.
I'd love to know.
Far out.
Yeah.
So did you like research this, or this was something that you just innately just started doing?
It was something I started doing and then started feeling really strongly about and kept researching. So it was like because I think I only realized I had like proper like anxiousness in 2020.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I feel like, because a lot of things happen at COVID happened, but that was actually the very last thing that stressed me. I actually had about all this other serious stuff in my family happen, in my personal life, like that really shook me. And that was when I remember being at a party for the first time, and I was like with my girlfriend, I was like, I don't know what the fuck's happening. Like, and we like went to the bathroom together, and she was just like breathing with me, and I was like, what was that? And like and I realized like it was because like when I go to parties, I have to be the one controlling the music.
Yeah,
and that's.
I feel you. I know exactly what you mean.
If you look at my phone, you have to like the fucking Bluetooth that I have.
Bro, I have like 400 playlists. I have so many. Yeah.
Not even playlists, like the kind of connections on the Bluetooth app, because like everywhere I go, I'm like, let me hook up. Like I have
of the devices that you make. That's so funny. Yeah, that's what you're saying.
And this party that I went to was like probably the first time that like the host was kind of like, no, later.
Yeah.
And she was playing something that was just
just
very
off.
Very off.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started to connect what music and dance meant to me.
Yeah.
And I realized that part of me socializing is because if I can do this when I'm talking to you, I'm fine. If I can't, like there was something else in me and some other voice and some other, I was like, oh my god, I got nothing to ground me and connect me. And I started to have this mad social anxiety and like couldn't. And I'm a social person. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And that was the first moment at this party with like, and then I was like, and then that control thing as well come up, and then I was like, what is happening?
That is interesting. Yeah.
So I fucking sat down and like, started to do these little things and try and really boost myself out of it. I'm like, what was that? And then, because I remember it was like, maybe 40 minutes where she was like, no, I'll let you on later. And then when I got my music on, I was like, Mo's back.
Yeah.
And then I was like, that's so interesting. Because as soon as I got to put my playlist on and a little bit that control came back, or even just that grounding with those beats or whatever it was, soothed me. And so I started to, and like, I've always been like really introspective. So self-study. And so like, that's where this thing came from. Like me just like looking into myself over and over and be like, well, what is that? Because I'm a very curious person. And I deep dive. And so I did it to myself. And I was like, this is really fucking interesting shit. Like this. And then I started researching and then learning about trauma and then learning about anxiety and learning about the brain and learning about the body. And I was like, oh my God, this is,
Yeah. All the doors started opening.
Yeah.
Wow. Man.
Literally, man.
I know what you mean though about the music. It's huge. Like it makes such a difference. But like I said, like if I'm doing this, I can talk, like I'm in a, you get more open to talk. But when the music ain't right,
it's a whole other thing.
Well, it influences your whole being. So I totally get it.
Yeah. But like, for me, to the point of having like low-key meltdown, needing to leave, and with my girlfriend being like in the bathroom, I was like, this is next level, like not liking the music, There's people that are like, oh, I'm not vibing this playlist, and they're still there chatting, and everyone was chatting and having a fine time, not even paying attention to the music, and I could not fucking let it go.
You're stuck on the wow.
Yeah, like I was just, and I mean, it's also what drives me to want to DJ and all these beautiful things.
Yeah.
But also open up all these other doors of what the fuck is going on and why am I,
Yeah, I love that. I love how you like, you question it and you trying to
I'm a
see
why.
Why is this? I love that. But that's all part of waking up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like healing, it's like the why. The why. Those questions is what leads you to.
Yeah. And that why was the voice, this other voice, because I was like, up here in my ego, in my normal self with my friends, like I've always had this energy of like, maybe it's because of height as well, like kind of being not like, people have always been like intimidated by me, or like that's the energy I kind of bring when I walk into a room or something, or like, and how I carry myself. So finding myself in that moment for the first time was like, this isn't me. It's not me, but then it is me. So what has been underneath this? And like, I obviously knew parts of my pain and stuff, but in that body way, and like being flooded and feeling hot and like wanting, like, that was very different, because I don't think I'd had like any kind of anxiety attack or anything like that at that point. And so getting into that and then kind of going to the mirror and being like, but you love yourself, right? And then kind of really stopping to listen to who answered and who was, even if it was a little voice at the back of the room, like, have you been there the whole time? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that was interesting, because sometimes we can kind of bulldoze through life being quite confident. And I feel like I've always had confidence, but then I was like, no, I want confidence in every layer of me now.
Ooh, wow, that's deep. Confidence in every layer.
So even with the anxious voice, angry voice, like, like, I want to know you. Come into the light. Come into the light. Let me see you a bit better. Like, let's really do this.
So let's face each other.
That's where the mirror work came in, and that's also why, like, but you do the mirror work with the king and queen. Like, the idea is that if you visualize it, you're doing the mirror work, and maybe this other voice that's like, you're useless, kind of pops up. The safety that you create for yourself, because you know how, like, the healing is all in the safeness of the environment, right? Because if you're not feeling safe, you're going to clock back into survival mode.
As
brain.
we were saying,
A way to make yourself feel safe is to have this really compassionate, self-sovereign king or queen with you that's like, it's all right. Oh, shit, you're really angry, anxious, and you think you're useless? Like, let's fucking talk about that. Like, you know, like, you really work with them.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's why it's important to have this really, like, strong, you know, even if it's just an idea at first. Because at first it was just an idea of, like, queen self, she's there. And what I say to people who maybe are really struggling to, like, feel that and embody that, and it feels weird to them, is like, just ask her to step into the room. She doesn't have to lead the conversation. She doesn't have to be the one being like, you know what I mean? Like, if she's not confident yet, that's all right. But just, who's in the room? Is she here? Is she here at least? You know?
You want to be present. I see what you're
exactly.
saying.
Exactly. And that's the higher self, your adult self. Are they at least present? Are they there in that moment? You know, as you're doing this work, just let them be present in there, and then they'll be more present the next time, etc., etc. And you build on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a powerful little practice.
Thank you.
Or tool, or just
Yeah.
That's amazing, and it's literally reflection. Like, it's self-reflect. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's self-reflection in a literal sense, because you're looking at yourself. Layers of yourself. Wow.
The layers of yourself and discussing yourself with yourself.
Yeah. I am a big believer in self-talk. Like, I'll have that all the time. I'll just be like, you know, kind of just like having those like little narratives that go throughout my head, and I'm just like kind of talking to myself a little crazy. But I say it aloud.
Okay.
I don't sometimes I can't just let it just go. I gotta be talking.
I've been doing that a lot more recently too. It's actually way better out loud. You gotta do that.
Like, are you talking to yourself, Coach? Like, fuck it. It is what it is.
Full on.
Call me crazy, but sometimes you got to.
You have to. I think it's so much more powerful as well when it's like, again, you embody it. If you're talking about it out loud, it's another way to put it in your body. You know, you're using the vocal cords. You're using your throat chakra. You know, so definitely
going into the body. Fuck, I love this. So that's the moral of the story. I think. Going into the body.
Go into the body.
Yes, exactly. It's not
100%.
just this. It's not just like some meat suit.
They're not just thinking, doing, go into the fucking body.
Exactly. There's like, there's so much
real
to it.
Visceralness of it all. Life is visceral. We live this through, you know what I mean? Like, the best experiences, you know, we're there, we're living them. It's all, it's very physical.
It's true. That's why we're here on this earth, to have a physical experience. As much as it's a spiritual experience, it is.
But also we get to play with it in
exactly.
in this body.
Mo. Right, thank you so much. This has been amazing.
I had so much fun.
I've learned so much. No, of course, it's my pleasure. We'll have you back as well.
Oh, that'd be great.
Hopefully, you'll be doing the workshops as well. You'll be DJing as well.
Yeah, man.
Like, it'll be hectic. We'll have more to talk about. Even though we could talk more, but it is getting late, and we've done nearly 3 hours. You've probably broken the record in like 3 minutes.
Holy shit.
Thank you so much. Honestly, it's been amazing. I've learned so much. Thank you for like your honesty, transparency, all that. Coming prepared, being you. It's been amazing. And please come back. Whenever you have time.
Thanks for facilitating this, holding the space, holding it down.
Of course, I love it. I learned so much, man. I love it. I'm so like, it does more for me. I don't know. It does a lot for me than like anyone else. I've been saying this to people forever. I'm like, I learned so much from podcasts, more than school, more than like YouTube. Just like listening to people's stories, like sitting with someone, like just looking at them and just like taking in their energy and just like it's an amazing thing. So thank you so much.
I've learned some too, and like try the mirror work and
I
the
will.
trust and faith thing, and
100%.
love to hear the report back.
Oh yeah, I will. I'll tell you. I'll do it a few times. Like, I'll make it a practice. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll try like the brushing your teeth type thing. Yeah. Maybe I'll do it after brushing my teeth, because I haven't always brushed my teeth in the mirror.
In the mirror,
Shit. No, maybe that's it.
For sure.
Is there anything you want to leave everyone with? Like a last few words, like, do you know what I mean? Like some inspiration, or just some quote that's been in your head, or I don't know, just anything that you'll leave everyone with, and then give them like your details, how they can find you, how they can contact you, and all that.
I don't know if there's anything I want to leave you guys with. I mean, other than, self-study is honestly like one of the greatest tools, like self-actualization on that little route, and we're all in this together, right? Ultimately, this is all for like such a deeper purpose, and being people of color, like it's on that purpose too. So there's so much to it. So yeah, and I guess you guys can find me on Instagram at the moment.
Love that.
And yeah, website coming soon.
Yeah, on its way.
Yeah.
Nice. And your Instagram's what's the handle?
It's Maharani.
Maharani.
Yeah. I'll give you the spelling of it.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like MAHAA _RAN. Rani with 2
eyes.
No, 2 A's and an
2
N and an
A's.
I. Look at me. You know what? You just.
I was gonna get my phone and try to look, but I'm like, it's recording. It's like we'll find it and I'll put it up.
Okay.
But yeah, amazing. Can't wait.
Yeah, that's the
Good luck in
handle.
all your endeavors.
Thank you.
And you're always welcome back on the podcast whenever. Thank you so much.
It's been real.
This is another episode of the Midnight Moods podcast family. Conscious conversations, real talk with real ones. Thank you. Till next time. Peace.